Hello, and welcome back to Dice and Mimics for an evening of Dungeons and Dragons with me, your dungeon master, Paddy. Joining me, as always, we have this intrepid group of adventurers who recently is blessed the right word. Let's just say they came to my house, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let's just there was some let's just say I had to bring in an exorcist afterwards. Anyway, joining me tonight, as always, we have Annette as Talia Darkthorn.
Hello, darlings.
We have Ben as both Valdizian and Urt.
Evening.
We have Steph as Vienna.
Hello.
We have Reese as Blossom.
Hello.
And we have Aaron as Zandal.
Hi.
Now, before we get into the recap, I'm going to pass over to Ben and Annette, as I believe you have some announcements to make.
I'll do mine first.
Yes,
Basically, as with every session, we like to give a big thank you to all of the creators of the tools that we use to put on this stream. So that's ranging from Sirenscape, which we use for all the music and the ambience, to Roll20 and DnD Beyond for our character sheets and our maps, and yeah, even to Restream for being able to put on the stream. So thank you to all the tools. We couldn't really put this on without you. And now I'm going to throw it over to Dread.
Let me know when.
Yeah.
Alright, so, do you need some shiny new math rocks? Or an awesome dice vault for all your clicky clacks? Well, we've teamed up with the fantastic folks over at Tabletop Dominion to offer you a 10% discount site-wide on all of their fantastic products. Now, they do a variety of things. They do dice, which can be acrylic, wood, metal, liquid core. They can have inclusions. They can have like solid colours, marbling, you name it. And they also do some gorgeous wooden dice vaults in a variety of woods. And I've actually got an example for you. So this little box here contains a Paradigm dice box. Now, I just wanted to show off the box because the box is really high quality in itself. And then in the inside, you have custom engraving. And this is my character class. So this is a rogue. So I'll pull this out. As you can see, it's gorgeous, gorgeous wood, nice and dark. And it comes together with just two magnets. And you have some nice little foam inserts. So you can store your dice. You could store them like this, or you could just have one set. And then it closes up. And we also have this one. This is the Paladin one as well. So you've got this gorgeous little hammer. You can also get your name or your character's name engraved as well. And for every dice vault sold, Tabletop Dominion will plant a tree. So not only do you get an awesome dice vault, you're helping the environment. Win-win. So head over to www.tabletopdominion/dice and mimics and use the code dice and mimics at checkout to get that sweet, sweet discount. Back to you.
Okay. So, thank you very much for those announcements. Now into a bit of a recap. So, been a while since we played this one. About a month now, so maybe a little rusty. We'll see how this goes. Last time, Armatae made their way away from Effin's Tower, where they had secured the soulbound item, the Cape of Stars, although no one has bound to said item. They have stored it away in a book of holding, I believe it's called.
Yes.
They then reboarded the Ferry of the Depths and began sailing not from Aham, as was originally intended. Instead, they decided to cut out the middleman and head straight for Reethorpe, causing this DM to have a panic attack because he had not planned anything for that. They spent some time.
The unexpected.
Yeah, especially with you lot. They set out across the sea, having a few interesting encounters along the way, including a run-in with a sea serpent, a fairy dragon, and a couple of random sort of storms and effects. However, they eventually pulled up into a small inlet and were let off of the ship and began heading inland towards the divine city of Reethorpe. However, as night began to fall and they were probably about still half a day's travel away, they decided it was probably best for them to make some form of camp. But not wanting to make their presence known just yet, to the people of Reforp, they decided to find somewhere secluded and hidden to rest up. And Talia, with a wonderful perception check, noticed a hamlet in the distance with no lights at all. Making their way through the crop fields, they managed to get to this hamlet to find it had been quite obviously raided. There was fire damage, the doors were knocked in, windows were shattered or broken. But with a bit of ingenuity, they managed to make their way into one of the larger buildings, an old tavern, find a bit of the building that was still serviceable, light a fire but keep it hidden, and then settle down for a long rest. During that time, whilst Talia was on watch, she noticed a figure moving through the fields. Deciding to go and investigate, she snuck her way out and found a humanoid figure in the darkness grabbing up vegetables from the fields that were admittedly overgrown and doesn't look like they're very well cared for, but they were grabbing vegetables and stuffing them into a sack. She grabbed this figure and interrogated it, finding out that it was some form of gnoll, who pleaded with her to let it go as the children were waiting for it. It said that it was an escaped slave who was helping to free children who were enslaved and then taking care of them. It was also, it turned out, a worshipper of the Raven Queen. Talia graciously, against a lot of her instincts and probably prior training, allowed this gnoll to go, and then returned to the rest of the party to inform them of what she had just encountered. And that is where we will pick up, as you guys are inside this tavern, currently sat around a small fire, some of you sleeping, some of you not.
Whose watch was it next?
I mean, have you woken everyone up and
Yeah.
told them what you saw?
I probably woken everyone up.
Yeah.
Did he say what type of slave he was?
There's more than one type.
Well, there's...
You're either paid for your work or you're not.
You
Yes.
do
Against your
remember
will
him,
or not.
you do remember him mentioning something
It's a
about
gladiator.
being a gladiator,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was forced to fight in the ring. Gladiatorial combat crap.
Yeah.
Guess nobody wants a gnoll as a servant. Can't say I blame them. I'm not exactly fond of gnolls, but as he is one of the flock, worshipper of Raven Queen, I can't really hurt him. I think that might make the cow reject me, probably. But yes, he is rescuing children slaves. So not only are they slaves, there's some children. That's pretty fucked up. I'm not going to lie.
He's not going to be happy about that.
No. So we need to... I have a feeling that he may be part of... my situation back home in Durna when we arrived, and obviously we had a small resistance and all of that. I have a feeling there might be something similar happening in the Reform. Perhaps on a smaller scale, but it might be worth following him and seeing if we can find someone with a bit more information. Someone who... This Knoll's not been in the town for a long time, but perhaps the children, they're a good source of information. Small can get into places adults cannot. We may be able to learn something about what's actually happening inside of the city. The more intel we have, the better our opportunities and chances are going to be to put this stop to this.
So, the children as sort of watchers on our behalf?
More, they're only going to be able to see whatever a slave gets to see, but having more recent eyes from the city, they may know something.
I wouldn't want to put
Kids are probably smart, probably managed to sneak out of their holdings more than an adult could.
I wouldn't want to send them back into the city, but...
We're not going to send them back in the city. I'm on about, he's obviously rescuing children, right?
Yeah.
Recent rescuees will have had a more recent experience in the Refop and will have information. I am not in any way suggesting we send slaves back in. But they may know of a way out from their exit groups that could be our way in and stuff like that. But we won't know until we get there. We need to find wherever they're hiding first.
True.
Right.
So let's get some rest, finish our rest, and then we'll head off in the morning and track him. I know which way he went. Well, the direction. Hopefully I can find It's been a while since I tracked, but maybe. Who knows?
Probably finished my rest by now.
Pardon me.
The rest of the evening passes uneventfully, and you all complete a long rest.
We all lose our temporary hit points.
Yes.
No. Oh, I think we already technically did at the last session, but we've just recapped a little.
Yeah.
And Vienna has woken up with a temporary cold, so bear with.
Oh. She's still recovering from the dagger.
Yeah.
The cold aura gives her a cold
Yeah.
sometimes.
So, as you all begin to rouse and come awake and eat whatever rations you have with you, you stamp out the fire and prepare for the day. And it's sort of now that you notice, Talia, though it's only dawn, the amount of light in the sky hasn't really changed yet. Like, you didn't notice it last night, really, because you were more focused on the knoll, but though it was dark out, the horizon still had light in the east.
That's freaky. It's a lot light.
We're
pretty
back in
light,
Curse of Strahd again.
Considering the time of morning.
No.
Oh, the mist! Oh no! Daddy?
No, this is light, not mist.
Light. It's very light outside. Right, let's see if we can figure out where. I'll go back to where I spotted the knoll and see
Yep.
if I can see any tracks and try and
Go ahead and
follow him.
roll a survival check with advantage.
Survival's not very good. But oh wait, no, because that would only be I'll risk it to hopefully roll higher than an 11.
I mean, I did say with advantage because
Oh,
you
that's
know
good
Noel.
then because
You can because you know Noel so well.
survival
You
is
can
just
pick
not
out
very good. I only have a
Yeah.
+1. It's not
you can pick out Noel tracks fairly easily.
10.
10. You don't get a
Can I
general.
use see fate to help?
Not really. Not in this situation. It would not assist you.
Yeah.
But with a 10, you get a general direction that the knoll went. Like you can see broken.
Well, I mean, I
like,
knew which direction it was going anyway. 'Cause I
Yeah,
watched it
you
run
can
off,
see,
but
but you can sort of follow a general trail in a direction and see if there's any deviation. You can get a
Yeah.
general location, but any closer than that, you're going to have to make more checks further on.
Yeah.
But you can see that he did head southward through the fields.
Looks like he went this way. I
This
mean,
is
it's a knoll. It's
happening.
probably not.
Vienna will be watching the guard sort of thing. She'll be having a look around just in case.
Keep your eyes peeled for enemies and stuff.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me, Vienna.
I have something that can do passive trace.
Perception.
Right, was it?
This is how it's going to be tonight.
Looking around Vienna, you don't spot any other figures at the moment, but your ears do hear a ways to the north. There is what sounds like wagons, maybe, and the sound of like horses. You think there may be some fields further to the north that maybe have people beginning to work on them.
Right. I'll obviously relay that to the group if I hear or see anything.
I swear I read something before in my items. Ah, no, it's Lurker licorice, but I'm assuming that's only on the consumer of the licorice,
Yes,
isn't it?
only on the consumer.
It's not like a standard passive
No.
trace. It's an individual. Okay, cool.
Yeah, individual.
I only have 4 of those, so that's gonna do us no good. Actually, I suppose I could give it to the people that are shit at stealth if we need it. I'll bear that in mind.
Thanks.
Val is a little bit quieter than usual. Not quite lost in thought, but also not quite focusing on everything that's going on. And occasionally, like you'll see him, and he'll like remember something and kind of run his fingers across his arm in certain places and stuff, where he's kind of just being in the area. He's getting like flashbacks of stuff that he had long forgotten.
I think even Talia's being more serious than normal because this is like, this is just like home. this is my thing. She's all like going back on her training and stuff. And
Okay.
then
So, are
yeah.
you following the Knoll's tracks?
yes.
Yeah.
As
So you all.
sorry, as
Yeah.
they're walking along, Xandal kind of just like looks up at Val. He's like, Val, can I just borrow your shovel sword thing for 2 minutes?
My shovel? You mean Mortimer?
Yes, please.
I mean, yeah?
Right.
As Xandal takes it, he's going to shove a 2nd level blink spell into it and then hand him it back.
Okay.
What does that do? Or
That
would I
just
not
is
know?
in his misstep.
No, blink
no.
is at the end of your turn. You roll a dice. If you roll, I think it's above a certain number, you blink into the ethereal plane at the end of your turn, and then blink back at the beginning of your next turn.
Yeah.
So it's effectively like you get your
Kinda
turn, you
hide
get to do
them
all your
out.
damage, and then you
Yeah.
go pop and vanish.
Yeah.
Is the
And you get to do
ethereal
that 8
ice
times.
empty?
Oh, okay. When you were saying you were going to push this spell into it, I thought you were like actually doing it on the item, so I would just lose Mortimer for 10 seconds randomly.
No.
It's an artificer ability to basically store a spell in an item so someone else can use it at a later time.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, because I remember in what's his name, Darrington. He
Yeah.
did that to as a revivify in a coin, didn't he? One time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, anyway.
I assume you
Even now.
convey this knowledge to Val rather than him just be like not knowing that it's there.
Yeah, he kind of explains. He just wanted to try something, and he believes that you've now got 8 charges of the blink spell
Ooh.
sat in your sword. Or
Cool.
your shovel sword.
My shovel sword.
Double
Your
spear-ish.
shovel sword, yeah.
I will also say that when I woke up, I would have put my breath weapon charge into my gauntlet, which takes me back up to full charge.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you
Like,
guys begin.
Going along the ground, running my hands along the ground, I'm like touching all the trees. I'm just like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Well, there's currently no trees here. This is just crop fields all around
Just
you.
leaves. I'm looking at shit.
So yeah,
I've just
You
got this
begin
picture
with-
of like her acting like Zoolander at the moment, just like
Just
bouncing
dodging around
all
like-
over the place, just like.
Yeah.
And then just Sandal like plodding along
They're doing
behind him.
unneeded barrel rolls in the.
yeah, making more noise than she needs to.
No, she's not. She's not making.
And the
more
thing
noise,
is, you're
but yeah.
probably with the most inconspicuous party going.
Yeah.
Pink hair, the bloody dragonborn in
That's
high
probably
armour.
singing.
You'll have your hood up, won't you, during the day?
Well, yeah, I would have my
Yeah.
hood up, so.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, though, it doesn't say that because it's when I finished the long rest. It doesn't say that it consumes the spell slot.
No. It would. What it is that you spend the long rest putting it into the item.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
then
so
you
I'd do
you-
that as we're
Like-
waking up, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Not as we're walking along.
Pardon me.
it's fine. I'll allow it for flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine. So, you guys make your way following this trail through the crop fields, and you can see like a lot of these fields look like they are overgrown and a bit unkempt around this village, but as you head further and further along, they do become more and more uniform and look like they are more routinely tended to. But you don't see any people so far. After about 4 hours, you make your way back to the road that you had left the night before to head to the hamlet, and you can see that this road at this point is sort of patchy. There's like stones and bits and pieces of mud here and there. It looks fairly well traveled, but as you sort of like glance like both ways, it runs like east to west, and as you glance towards the east, you can see that it slowly and progressively, until you can't see it over the horizon anymore, gets better and more well maintained, and looks to be made from white marble as it gets further and further away from you.
I'd probably avoid
like
that one, actually.
Yeah, we don't want to be in the main road. That's bad.
Yeah.
You can
Can I try
I
and
need-
follow
I was gonna say-
adjacent?
you need to make another survival check for me, please, with advantage. because you've now lost the Knoll's trail through this field. You need to pick up where it went after this.
Would I have recognised any of this area and being able to like mention anything to?
So the problem for you is you were very, very young when you were a slave. You very rarely left.
Help in that one.
No, I know. I was just before you rolled it. I was just like, "Can I help?"
2 and a fucking 1.
Val.
Every
You
time I
very
roll this
rarely
thing.
left the estate, and the one time you did leave the estate was when you were being spirited away whilst in the middle of a fever.
Yeah.
So you don't really remember a lot.
I was going to say, I am still looking. I'm still on my guard. So do you want me to
go ahead and
Anyone
make
else want
another
to help?
perception check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Help with tracking as well, because I'm not doing a very
Yeah,
good job.
I was going to say.
20.
Please be honest, save me from myself.
If anyone does want to assist in the tracking, they can. Once.
Yes, help.
Yeah,
Someone
I
roll
was
something.
gonna
I'm
say,
more just
Tracking.
looking.
Hey, Blossom,
so
you did
I'm
the tracking, right?
Yeah.
Help me out here. I normally already know where I'm going when I'm doing a mission. It's not very often I have to poke around. Thank you.
Okay. So, Vienna, as you sort of keep your eyes out and look around, you do see approaching from the west. They're far enough away that they haven't spotted you yet, but you do see what looks like a wagon and horses and what looks like farm labourers, probably coming to start tending to some of the fields. But they're far enough away that they haven't spotted you.
I'll make everyone aware of that. So.
Yeah,
We need to get off the road.
Looking to the east, Vienna, you're almost blinded.
Oh.
As you sort of like squint and you suddenly realise, why do I think you look like, first you think, oh, it's dawn, I'm looking directly into the sun, and then you realise, actually, the sun's higher in the sky.
Yeah.
But there is another source of light still on the horizon. Bright light, almost like sunlight on the horizon.
I'm going to kind of say to guys, just be aware, there's a really bright light over there and it's not the sun.
Yeah. Weird. We should also like hide. We don't want to be spotted by anyone. Not until we've got
Shame you don't have those goggles.
Yeah. While Talia's lost the trail, I'll say that picked it back up.
Yeah. You find that it does pick up immediately over the other side of the road, still heading dead south.
Right, let's go. Let's mousy. Let's get out of here before we're spotted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't even want to be spotted by civilians. Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Moving again.
We're in for.
Moving again through the fields. The fields now have changed from like vegetable fields. These are now wheat fields, like proper full-grown wheat fields. And you see that they're probably getting close to ready for harvest. It is sort of end of summer, beginning of autumn time. So it's getting close to that sort of time anyway. But you make your way through, following sort of the odd broken stalk here, a footprint there. And the Knoll's tracks lead pretty consistently southward. Takes another couple of hours moving at a steady pace. But eventually, Blossom, you notice that the Knoll's tracks begin to veer slightly eastward. Still heading south, but now going sort of almost like in a curve, as if they're avoiding something.
Sure.
And the rest of you, as you sort of like keep following this track, you do hear in the distance the beginnings of like what sounds like wood chopping, like an axe hitting wood, the calls of children, the sounds of like a well being drawn, that sort of thing. So you get the feeling there's maybe a village not too far away. And the Knoll was obviously skirting around this.
We'll do the same then, I guess. Try and be stealthy as we can.
Okay, if everyone could make me stealth checks, please.
This is where it gets to shit.
So good I have enough good stats that even if I roll really shit, I can roll fairly okay. That's 19 plus, what was it, 5 more for moving slowly.
Yeah.
Because of my armor.
I've clearly fallen over something, or I've slipped or something.
Again, this was a group check, and overall you succeed. Vienna, you do sort of this bright light. It's now about midday, so there is this bright light hammering down from above.
I've walked into a tree, or if I fell over a stump or something.
Yeah, but there is also this bright light hammering in from the east as well, and you just like you've gotten used to dealing with one bright light source. 2 is a bit overwhelming still.
Yeah.
And you do find yourself occasionally sort of like bumbling into, as you say, roots, or crushing a bit more wheat than you maybe should do as you move. But the rest of the party does manage to compensate for you and guide you.
Hold on to my tail, Vienna.
Where's your
Just
tail?
don't yank on it too hard. Ow! Ow!
Storm's arrived here.
Oh, God, that's moved quick.
But yes, so you head along this circuitous route, and eventually you break out of the wheat fields, and you can see ahead of you lies a large forest stretching out southwards. And you can see a little ways to the west of you, there is what appears to be a village of some kind.
What, like a shantytown, but more hidden?
No, like a proper village. You can see like not houses. There's what looks like a church, a tavern. It looks like it's just like an outlying village, and you can see like, well, actually you're a bit far away to make out details because
Could
of
I
how.
send Queenie to scout ahead?
Yeah.
Look for her eyes, just to scope it out, because obviously I wouldn't want to stumble into a village that is gonna then turn us in immediately.
So you
I wanna
summon
Scope,
Queenie.
look for if there are other non-humans interacting with people normally. Okay. Does it seem like Lowtown?
Okay.
In
So
the
you
sense
watch.
of, not separate from the main city.
So you watch as Queenie flies off, and Talia goes slightly limp, her eyes glazing over. And Talia, looking through Queenie's eyes as she flies over the village and sort of alights on sort of the lintel of one of the houses. Roll a perception check for me, please.
As
Using-
Queenie, yes?
Yeah, using
Or,
Queenie's stats.
or my perception, because I'm looking through it, I'm not
No,
actually
you have to use the Raven's eyes.
Okay, extras.
You've got rid of your 1s and 2s now, so
Thanks. If I roll any more, I'm coming up there and stabbing you. Right. Perception. Where the frick is? Oh, there it is. Come on, Queenie. Don't let me down.
Okay.
12.
Looking around,
Wasn't a 1 or 2?
you only see like this village is. Let me just double check what I put. So yeah, looking around, you see only sort of mostly humans. There's the odd elf, maybe a dwarf and a halfling, but no sort of what you would call like demi-human
Non-humans.
or exotic race humanoids here. You see the church is it's like a nice little humble affair. It has the symbol of Pelor above the door. You
It's
can
not
see
safe.
the main thing that you notice is there is a lot of tanning going on, a lot of furs, and a lot of butchers, and there looks to be a lot of people going into and out of the forest with bows. You get the feeling this is a hunting village.
Right, but this doesn't look like where our little Noel friend has run off to.
No, probably not.
No. I'll like come back to myself and be like, there's only races that would be acceptable, and we probably want to avoid this town. I don't think this is where that Noel went. We should double back, try and regain the trail.
Yeah,
Whilst
let's
Find
get
out where he
round.
went. Be stealthy, don't be speed.
whilst Queenie's been scouting, Val's just... You see him almost retch in his mouth a little bit. And he's like... it's like measuring up against himself. And he just wants to try something. And
Please
he's
don't
going
punch
to...
any children, mate.
Just for later, so that he knows that he can quickly do it if he needs to. He's going to wrap the cloak of illusions around him, and he's going to make it out like Lord McFatface. I can't remember what his name is.
Albrecht Worthington.
That guy.
Oh no!
But he's literally just like...
back to myself and see him, and then nearly stab you in
Go
the face.
ahead.
The
Go
thought
ahead,
like
and
literally threw up in his mouth, and then he was just trying to measure the amount of... Because it says the same size creature, but I would argue that because of the size of his stomach, he's not necessarily the same size creature as well.
Yeah. What I will say is, roll me I'm going to say a history check.
Okay.
This is to see how many details you get right, and how much you remember of Albrecht Worthington.
Okay. Not a lot.
Not a lot. You watch as Val swirls his cloak around himself, and then there is just this overly dressed pink blob. Like, Val has obviously
What are you
taken in
doing?
fat, but other features sort of just went out the
And
window.
nicely dressed, and that's
Sorry,
it.
Val, but that's
You're
not it.
missing
That doesn't look anything
atypical
like it.
grease stain from a glutton on your shirt.
What are you doing?
I mean, there may be a
everything
point
else.
where we need to get into his mansion, and if I'm him, or at least look like him, that could make it easier. So I
Or
thought
he
I
could
would give it
already
a
be
go.
there, and then they'll immediately know that it's a lie and kill us all.
Very true.
If you're going to pretend to be someone to get into somewhere, you pretend to be a servant or something of a lower rank. You don't go for the big boss because you're less likely to convince people.
Okay.
I can
And-
teach you how to disguise yourself.
Just
if you need.
Val stands there thinking for a second. Can he reattempt and see if he can make it out to be the woman?
I was going to say, could I show him my diary, the description of Worthington?
That doesn't really work in this case. He's got to visualize it.
Yeah.
Not...
I just meant maybe he could visualize it from the description. It might help.
Yeah, you can try and
Yeah,
become
I'll
the woman
open
who
the
was
page and I'll.
Slard.
But like you said,
That'll
can't
be on
remember
there as
her
well.
name.
I'll give it a go.
Bitch,
Another
big
history
space,
check.
I could tell it.
Yeah,
Hang on,
another
I should
history
probably
check.
What's her name? I should probably have my notes up. here.
18.
18.
remember her better than
As
him.
he swirls the cloak around himself, suddenly this gorgeous red-headed half-elven woman is stood there with a lot of detail filled in, including a beauty mark on her right bosom that apparently Val noticed.
Is this
Where?
better?
What
Hang
is
on
it
one
with you and
second.
half elves, Val?
The only issue here is, from a woman's mouth is coming Val's voice.
Is
Yeah,
this
but maybe
better?
don't talk. No, it's really not.
Okay. And then I drop the cloak and put it back. I mean, this is all
Like I
whilst
said, you don't
Queenie's
go
been
for
cycling
high
around.
targets. You don't do high targets, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think Valerie Threel is who you were trying to be.
Valerie.
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 Unfortunately,
Valerie.
I know
Yeah.
you're not going to like the sound of this, but there's one sure way to sneak in, and that's pretend to be a slave. I know it's not going to be the way you want to go in, but if you're going to
Let's
so let's just scout the
actually
place first.
gather information and learn about the city before we decide how it would go. They may have a better way in, for all we know. Anyway, if we find the trail, Blossom, come give me a hand.
Okay. Survival check with advantage for whoever wants to make it.
Blossom, you're
yeah.
all better than me. If we want to get anywhere.
19.
19. Blossom, you do see that after this short break between field and forest, you spot a couple of knoll tracks leading further south into the forest.
Can I also clarify? Was the village an actual its own village, or was that just like an encampment?
A hunting.
It is an
Cool.
actual full village. It looks like it's like
Sure.
so like with Maham, there are like little farming villages around
Mhm.
Maham.
Well,
that-
like Moontide ish.
Yeah,
Or is that too
effectively,
far away?
Moontide is a fishing village that falls under being part of the Kingdom of Maham. It is
Yeah,
part of,
it was just a
Maham's
small
territory.
clarification.
Yeah.
but yeah, no, this is a proper village, and it
Mhm.
it looks like their main form of income is
Yeah.
hunting in these woods and then probably shipping it to the city.
That's fine then.
But yeah, you quickly make your way into the woods and begin following this trail, and it sort of weaves and bobs around through the woods, and you can see that in a way the knoll has become a little more
Apple?
careless
Oh.
now that it's in the woods,
Mhm.
almost as if it feels a little bit more secure than it did in the fields or nearer to the city. And after a while, probably at this point it's getting close to early afternoon, as you come towards like you see it before you come up to it, sticking out of the woods ahead of you is this large granite stone column. Looks like a natural formation, almost like a large stone hill that's then had all like the turf scraped away. and you can see that the trail leads directly towards that.
Interesting. Well, let's go.
Keep
However, as you get to that, the trail vanishes completely.
Guess we're gonna be checking this rock for illusions and shit.
going.
Oh,
Check for traps.
I will use True Sight, I think. We'll take the shot and hope that it's not a double-edged sword for once.
Okay.
Just so that I can see if there's any illusions or hidden paths or anything.
Okay. You activate True Sight and roll a perception check for me, please.
Perception, come on, come on, yes, natural 20! Perfect!
As you look around
29.
and take everything in, there's nothing strange about this rock. You don't see any signs of illusions or enchantments or anything like that. Obviously, you see all the magical effects on all of your friends and their weapons and gear.
I'll try not to look at the city so I don't get completely fucking
You can't see the city from here. The woods are
okay.
in the way. However, there
Cool.
is, with a natural 20, there is something ever so faint in the air. Just
Like a
something.
scent?
No, it's a visual thing. It's almost
Hmm.
like. It's almost like if you could see radio waves. There is just this
Ah.
faint thrum in the air.
Interesting.
It seems to be completely ever present all around you, but it seems to get stronger the closer towards the city it goes. Like in that direction.
So, what the trail goes cold? I can't tell where he's gone.
You don't see any more signs of a trail. You don't know whether he just suddenly became really careful and was covering his tracks perfectly from this point on. But there's nothing illusion based or magical blocking the trail from here.
No trail, and there's some kind of weird, like, miasma, like in the air. Some kind of I don't really know how to describe it, but it's stronger towards the city.
Funny, trails don't just usually disappear.
That's my concern.
That
can I,
Vienna
like,
just kind of
touch the
scraping
rock and
ground.
shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's see.
Go
There has
ahead
to be some
and-
kind of switch or hidden passage. Or
Go ahead
something.
and roll investigation for me.
What,
Doesn't
both of
have to
them,
be
or what?
magical, does it? That's the point.
They could have misty stepped.
Yeah,
Your dice
So-
have your cold.
I think the dice have my cold. Yeah.
Vienna, you try to look, but it's daytime.
Eye
I'm
strain.
still blinded by that.
She's
Right,
got eye
yeah.
strain, like.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah. You're just sort of like, no, not right now. Talia, there's something here. There is something here. You find like a couple of scratches on a rock. There's like a few bits of dislodged earth that could be paw prints, but aren't quite. Like they look like they've been swept over, maybe.
Oh,
But there's something about this whole rock face, but you can't quite find what you're looking for.
I was just saying that there's something about this rock. Like it must be a secret entrance or something. I'll like push against it. I'll try and push it, like twist it. Help
You
me out here.
You push
That-
against this giant slab of granite that is reaching hundreds of feet above you.
Val goes up to it
I mean, it's yeah.
and just... I doubt this is this, but... Just goes, what is the key?
Eh?
Nothing happens.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Wait, don't you say something before you say the key, or is it the other way around? I can never really.
No, the question's what
You
is
know
the
what?
key?
Wait. I place the hand against the rock and like, I'm the Raven Queen chosen. Let me in. I don't know.
Make a wisdom check for me.
Wisdom check. Hang on a sec. What does
You
my
take
ring
9
get?
d8s worth of damage.
I'm quite. I just kill myself with my own stupid or something. Fuck, where is it? I just want to double check. I'm trying to use my items, so bear with me. I don't think it covers. No, I think that only... Oh, it's only strength and dexterity checks. Okay. Wisdom check. So that's not saving throws. That's just up here, isn't it?
Yeah, just a straight check.
Uh, 11.
11. Yeah, that would be enough. As you say that and place your hand against the rock, it's not going to be very strong, but there is a response.
Uh-huh.
As a faint greenish glow seeps up from the ground and surrounds your hand,
Oh.
and almost forms like a compass point.
Which way is it facing? Direction
A
is it
little
pointing?
bit to your left.
I'll look in that direction.
As you move across to that direction, you see that there is this large clump of moss. And as the move towards it, the compass point points directly to it.
Oh, that's clever. I'm going to go over to the moss and like investigate around that.
Yep. As you bring your hand to the moss and put your hand on it, your hand just sort of brushes it aside, revealing a tunnel leading into the rock. However,
knew it!
the moss from the outside looked like it was growing directly on the stone.
This way, guys. This way. I found it. Let's be
Clever.
careful. We don't know what we're going to find down there.
Okay. The tunnel doesn't go down, it just goes straight. It's like tunneling through the rock rather than going underneath it. And as you
We'll
move
cover
through...
our tracks as we go and make sure that nobody can follow us.
Okay. As you start crawling through, this tunnel is only just large enough for like a normal sized creature. Val, you are going to have some difficulty with your wings.
We just like going to put him through and then he just pops and we all collapse on the other
Yeah,
side.
with assistance you're all right, but it is a tight fit for you.
Okay, I was about to say I'll take a slime sucker if I get stuck at any point. So,
But it takes about 10 minutes in total to crawl through this hole, and you feel like you've crossed maybe a good 100, 200 feet of rock to get into the middle of this. This is a long tunnel with thick walls. But as you come out into the middle, you sort of stand up and you hear the babbling of a stream splashing. You hear the laughing of children and just the breeze blowing gently through what sounds like branches. As you get up and look around, you see this is like a 250-foot radius clearing in the middle of this hill. The hill itself like closes up above, but there is a small opening to let light in. And you can see that there is a small lake with weeping willows around it and like a meadow of black orchids and lilies growing in patches throughout. And Talia, the main thing you notice is in the middle of the lake is a statue of the Raven Queen. But you see a number of children running around, and you do see sat at the edge of the lake currently like next to what looks like a large cooking pot on a fire, that same knoll you had encountered the night before, currently like stirring the pot. None of them appear to have noticed you yet.
I'm gonna make like a raven like kind of call noise and like try and get his attention on wave and be like, you, me, talk.
As you do that, his hand drops the ladle and immediately lashes out to the side and grabs up a halberd, and he is up, hackles raised and in a combat position ready. And then he sort of like blinks, looks at you, sort of you see recognition dawn in the eyes, and then he looks at your compatriots.
Johnny's like, you wanna fuck around and find out, bro? You want it?
His eyes land on Vienna, and his form tenses slightly, but then relaxes a bit again, and
I'm like, easy, buddy.
You hear him bark out something, but you're a bit distant away to hear, and the children's laughter stops, and you watch as they all just scatter and vanish.
I was going to wonder at what points some of these slaves are going to go, drow.
Maybe keep your hood up, Vienna. Till I can explain that you're on our side.
I was tempted to go bonus action, Hunter's Mark one of the kids, but...
Kids alone!
The knoll slowly approaches until he's probably about 60 feet away, and then sort of plants the halberd next to him and goes, "Hello again. You
It
followed
is.
me."
I mean, it wasn't hard, but you did cover your tracks closer to your base. Better, which is good. You should. But work harder to hide.
Fine. Yes, fine. What do you want?
Information. More than what you gave us in our brief conversation. I want to talk to the children. I don't want to hurt them. And the drow's with us. She's fine. She's not a slaver.
She's
Not
not
no
with the
drow.
Naveen netters.
She's
What was
what?
She's not with the Naveen netters.
Vienna?
I was just about to say, is Narveen where I come from?
Yes.
Naveen is the city you come from. Yeah.
I am from Narveen originally, but no, I am not a slaver.
What is your name?
Vienna.
Vienna. Vienna what?
Family name? Hylam.
My name is Vienna Hylim, but whatever my mother is involved with, I'm not.
Do you know Sargast? Sargast Hyling.
Do I know Sargast Hylim?
You do have a distant cousin called Sargast Hylim, a male drow.
I
You
believe my-
men.
He may be a distant relative.
It's actually a brother, but because he's male, she's just like, no.
No, he is from a cadet line of the house. He's not even like main house. He's low in the hierarchy.
I can
He still goes,
vouch for her.
And I can guarantee you, if she was a slaver, I wouldn't associate myself with her.
And neither would
Oh,
I.
he would have absolutely have killed me by now.
Go ahead, Talia, and make a persuasion check with advantage. Because you share the
Check
same
this,
religion.
Check this cow.
Yeah, he's not that into
No.
the religion to recognize that straight away.
22. Do I need to roll again to see if I get a natural?
You can, yeah.
Yeah, I might as well. I'll take whatever numbers I can get. 26.
Okay.
That was perception, not persuasion.
Yeah,
Oh, for fuck's sake! Where's Oh yeah, I only get a +3 to that. Sorry. But yeah, it's 22 then. Sorry.
22. He
It's
sort
because
of
they both start with a P and are around the same amount of
sort of-
letters.
his hackle's sort of lower, and he steps a bit closer. Now you guys can get a proper look at him. He is a dark brown gnoll with a shock of white hair in a mohawk that sort of trails into a ponytail down his back. He has one milky eye that has a scar going through it, which extends down to his lip, and his lip is pulled up like that, and it's almost in a constant grin on one side because the lip has been cut into by this scar. And he sort of comes up to you and goes, "Fine. I am Notch Grin.
Not Grin.
Notch Grin.
Not Grin. Okay. Notch Grin.
I know your name, Lady Drow. The rest of you, what are your names?"
Sandal
I'm
Gold
Talia.
Hill. Well,
I'm
Xandal.
Talia Dogful. Yeah, we call him Sandal. Or little guy. If he's being annoying. Yeah.
Sandal's just kind of stood there. He's got like a screwdriver in hand and he's working on like a gear, like a couple
Oh,
of,
he's
like,
got something
gear
in his hand.
mechanisms. He's just sort of like just lazily like just not paying attention.
I am
I'm-
Talia Dogful, chosen of the Raven Queen.
I'm Valdizian Thunderbone, and this one here is Ert.
Hi,
Um,
I'm Ert.
And
I'm
the
Blossom.
don't forget Blossom.
Well, I was letting Blossom introduce themselves.
All right. Sit down. I will start by answering your questions, and then if I think you're trustworthy, we might let you meet the children.
Fair enough.
Sort of sits down. The halberd is laid across his lap. He's not lowered his defenses yet. He is still very much wary of all of you. You've won him over enough that he's going to start answering questions
It's probably still going to be very wary of me. But
he's going to have a civil conversation with you, but he's very much of the thing of, I don't know these people. These people have found my secure hiding place. This is still a bit sketch to me, sort of thing. So, what do you want to know?
Any information that you have on Reethorpe? What's going on in there? Where are they keeping slaves? What slaves are there? You know,
How to
It's
get
like
in
any
and out.
information on what's
everywhere.
going on in the temple.
Slaves
Oh,
are kept
everything.
everywhere. Or most households have, one or two, especially amongst the nobles. They're kept in basements, cellars. Sometimes they get their own room if the family's nice. You never know. But they're kept most places.
How
Although-
are you...
I was going to say, have you seen anything unusual creature-like? Anything like, would you know what a
Lizardy.
slough would be?
Sladdy,
Sladdy,
red,
yeah.
green skin, or red skin, or blue skin.
No.
Very big.
No, nothing like that. Although, they're- that's difficult anyway. If they're part of the slave groups, a couple of years ago, they implemented that all slaves have to be shrouded at all times. Have to wear full shroud. Yes,
Mm.
we're not allowed to enjoy Pelo's light.
Zand'll
Enjoyed
take
Pelo's
out one
light.
of his scraps of paper and he will draw very quickly the gem that Frog Lady had.
Ah.
Yeah.
It wasn't her that had
and
it, it was Law.
Albrecht was the one who had
Albrecht
the
Albrecht,
control
Worthington
gem.
had it on
has it.
his
Yeah.
chest or something.
the
On his
control
foot
gem.
mask.
Yeah, he's essentially going to be like, have you seen
Anyone with this?
anyone with this other than the big fat one?
Worthington. No, not
really.
seen anything like that. Plenty of people with gems in city, nobles, some of the higher priests, but no one with anything like that.
What about military movements, guards? How many do you know?
The
How many there are?
Radiant Templars make regular patrols of all parts of the city. They are normally joined by Hyperion hounds, who are trained to sniff out exotics.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So I take it disguises are not going to work if we're not human.
Is there anyone within the city who would be on your side, who would work with us?
Yes.
Make a persuasion check, Vienna, at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Can
I use one of my Damami
to
help her out a little
Yeah,
bit?
you can use a Dormammu. Yep, so +4 to the roll, isn't it now? Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have.
God.
Well, that still
I
gets
might
an
as well
11.
not.
Yeah, that still gets an 11 with the Dormammu. He sort of sits there and he sort of glances at each of you, and you can see he's obviously still not fully trusting. He goes, I do sometimes work with Sargast's Hylim and the Naveen Netters. We have an understanding.
What kind of understanding?
They assist me into the city, point me to targets. I free a bunch of slaves. They let the children pass, and I get to take the children away.
So.
And the children aren't the targets, or are the targets?
They are the targets for me, for Hylim.
What's their deal then? What are the
What are their
targets you're looking for
targets?
them?
The Naveen Netters are slavers. They run the slave market. They capture, subdue, sell slaves, and are also the main force other than the Radiant Templars who recapture escaped slaves. However, if they recapture an escaped slave, they can charge for its return.
I see. It's a racket. They're selling them slaves, and then teaching the slaves to escape so that they can resell them back to them.
In essence, yes.
And in return, you get to keep the children's slaves from slavery.
Yes. Whilst I am escaping, the Naveen Netters make an effort to attack the adult slaves, but let me and the children pass through, even sometimes hampering any Radiant Templars in the area.
I suppose we can chalk that up as another potential way in.
It's an option. Is there any underground elements in the city? Do they
there
operate
is-
here?
There is a crime base in the city. I know not of any contacts, unfortunately. But bear in mind, until about a year ago, I was a gladiator. I lived in a cage under the Colosseum.
Hmm. And I'm assuming the
I know that
conditions down
feeling.
there are pretty appalling.
Yeah. You either died in the arena or you died of your wounds.
They don't heal you?
Why would they waste healing on a slave?
Point taken.
I
No,
only
they just
survived.
throw the sick
because-
ones out.
I only survived because the dwarf took pity on me.
This is worse than Durna. Didn't
Which
think it could be
dwarf?
worse.
Yeah, Paladin, nice man, very nice man. He came and shared ale with all of the gladiators sometimes. Had us help.
What's his
with
name?
training. Fandor. Fandor Brighthammer.
That old dwarf. Well, that's one ally we have, for sure.
Is he still in the city?
I definitely don't want to be making allies with my cousin if I
Not
can help it.
not seen him recently. Think he was sent away on business
Hmm,
by the Archdeacon.
sounds about right.
And as for the politics in the city, it remains unchanged over the last 20
When-
years or so? Or
Oh no, changed considerably. The Pelorites have solidified their position. Yeah, if you were here that long ago, you would not recognize city now.
So what? It's the only religion there now? No,
No.
Raven Queen?
Other religions are there, but the Pelorites built a new city above the old. The surface city is only for Pelorites. The lower city is for any other religions.
We pushed it all underground.
Yes,
Religious supremacist.
it is a theocracy. The religion with the highest following rules, and the Pelorites started with a small majority and then consolidated and grew, and
Wow.
eventually they provided miracles. They provided boons to the economy. They produced the day crystal.
Day crystal. Is that why the city's so bright all the time?
Refop is the city of the day. There is no night in Refop. The
And
closer
my
you get to the
cousin
city,
dwells in there.
the slave market's in the lower city.
Well, I
That's
think I
awesome.
know why they've done so well. Like you need night. You need to rest. You don't get proper rest if it's when it's like really bright outside and you just can't sleep. You don't get sleep, you go crazy. They've probably
say-
deprived the people of sleep for so long they'll believe anything.
They say that to bask in Pelor's light is to worship him. So the slaves are not allowed to, and other religions are forced below the ground. And Pelorites, do you know of the Gleaming?
The what?
Val, you would vaguely remember the Gleaming.
can I do a religion check? Or
Yeah,
just
go
gonna-
ahead.
Religion, something I should be good at.
That doesn't always.
15.
15. Yeah, you know of the Gleaming. Refop is one of two divine cities in Medora. The other being Zinabazab, far, far to the west, in the Drake Crag Mountains. That one is supposed to be the birthplace of religion. Refop is supposed to have been settled by a group of various followers of different religions who wanted a place to be safe. When they did so, the gods were supposed to have each granted a miracle to the city. And these miracles wax and wane depending on the number of believers in the city for each god or goddess in this case.
Right.
The Gleaming was Pelor's gift. And in essence, what the Gleaming is that it is a barrier that stretches through the whole of the city and for a good distance north and south of it. And to the west of the Gleaming, it is lush, beautiful farmland. To the east of the Gleaming is the beginnings of the Desert of Rust. And the Gleaming stops the desert from going any further. It keeps the desert at bay.
And between conversations between me and the dude in front of us, I'll kind of convey that information.
The doll goes, yes, yeah. So the more devout followers live to the east in the desert, and they spend their time basking as much in the sunlight and the warmth of Pelor as they can. The casual followers live on the western side of the Gleaming.
That might be that weird aura I was seeing with the true eyes. There's a
Explain
weird
it.
magical essence around the city. That could be it.
Possibly, or it could just be the day crystal. I don't know.
If my true sight is still up, can I like glance around? And do I see any other magical auras other than ours in this little alcove?
Go
glade
ahead
or
and make
whatever?
a perception check.
19?
19. So the statue of the Raven Queen has a very slight aura to it, and you can see that it is casting some form of enchantment in the middle of this glade. Effectively, it covers this whole glade. There is still that faint, almost like radio wave like consistency to the air, even in here. But other than that, that is it in this glade.
The statue of the Raven Queen in the lake is. Does it do something? It's quite. It seems magical.
I was told by the Black Mother once that this is a hallowed place. It is sacred. No harm can come to a believer of the Raven Queen here, as long as she does not will it.
It is good. At least the mother protects her flock.
Yes, this was the local hunters from Bravery Village avoid this place. They think it is haunted because it was burial ground long, long ago. Talia, you now sort of realize that green glow that enveloped your hand was probably a ghost, like answering the call of the Raven Queen's chosen to assist. That was a spirit of one of the people buried here.
Yeah, might be a fun conversation to have. I just wanted to try and talk to a corpse. Anyway,
You get 5 questions.
just don't ask him if that's right.
You get 5 questions,
now.
right?
Behave. Some people may not have seen it yet.
Yes. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that would help. Do you know of any other ways in other than through this slaver group?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check, Talia.
That was a roller coaster. 18.
18. He beckons you in and sort of says to the rest of your party, "You all wait here. I trust her, not you."
Fair enough.
He guides you a little bit away and
I
goes,
never thought I'd be having a conversation with an all.
"Couple ways in. I have a friend who works in the warehouses district who sometimes smuggles me stuff out for the children and occasionally smuggles me in on a cart. The only other potential I could see is I do know quite well a lady called Darsina who runs a brothel in the entertainment district.
Darsina.
She passes me information and knowledge of what's happening and sometimes assists me in getting children in and out of the city if I need to."
You get in contact with her?
She normally sends me missives by messenger bird. I don't know where she gets them from.
And those are the only ways you know in?
Those are the only ways I have to get in. Whether there are others, I don't know.
Whilst this conversation's ongoing, I'm just chatting to Vienna. I'm just like, so we make you out that you're the slaver, and you've captured all of us, and you're going to sell us in the slavers market, and that's how we're going to get in.
Although that makes sense, Val. I know this is me being nice and it hurts my stomach to say this. I don't want you as slaves. Even pretend ones.
Even if it meant saving other slaves?
They'll take your weapons off you. They will take... You know, I know you've got all your powers now and your abilities, but... It'll make you a lot weaker. If they...
Fair point. If only they could take you away, eh?
For a moment, you swear in the reflection on the shield, you see this glowing white face with just this really cheeky grin.
And I flick it. I'm just like, ding.
As you flick it, you feel a flick on your snout.
Let's hope they come up with a better idea, eh?
I do wonder, though, if the Narveen slavers, if they are the ones, if they are the group that are doing this, I could still infiltrate them with or without you.
Yeah, Vienna, you know, Drow Society, you are a direct daughter of the main house of the clan.
Yeah.
If you walked in there, you could take over that whole operation, and Sargast would have nothing to say about it. He would not have a leg to stand on.
However, on the other side, I don't know how much power I'd have if I was to shut it down. The Drows will not take that well. I'm sure there will be females in there that will challenge me, because that's how Drows work. Hill will lead, you jump in her place.
Sounds difficult.
It's a difficult situation. I'd have to ponder it over a little bit to see if I can figure it out, but...
Okay, it's about this point that Notchgrin and Talia rejoin the main group. Notchgrin goes, anything else I can help you with?
I mean, you haven't been in the city for a while, right?
My last sortie was 2 weeks ago. I managed to rescue a small tiefling boy. Unfortunately, he got wounded on the way out, and I had to bury him.
Oh, it has? Damn it.
Vienna will ask him what...
Actually, that shouldn't be a problem. May I see where you buried him?
No,
Really?
really, I will not let you desecrate his resting place. I'm sorry, I
Desecration?
I don't know. No,
I'd be able to give him proper burial rites.
the Black Mother already did.
She comes all the way out here? Or is there multiple Black Mothers? I'm still new to this.
I took some of his items that he managed to escape with to her, and she did the funeral rites over them for him.
Quite the same as doing it over the body, but he has information. We want to free Reef from this oppression and get rid of the slaves.
What information do you need that I can't give you? The children are traumatized enough as it is. Some of them bear awful scars. I will not let you traumatize them further by dragging up memories that they now want to forget.
Vienna will ask
enough.
the Knoll, it's like, so the Narveen slavers, are they the only ones? Are they the main force?
The Narveen Netters they formed an exclusive contract with the Archdeacon. They are the only ones allowed to run a slave market in the city.
Interesting.
That is not to say that nobles do not trade amongst themselves, but that is by the time the slave has become private property.
I mean, is there no resistance at all? Is it just you saving these children? Is no one trying to fight back?
I have heard whispers of something, but they have not reached out to me, and I have not reached out to them.
Would now be a
Well,
good
any
time.
information you have would be useful. We can reach out to them.
And with that, Vienna will kind of lower herself to him as like, look, I know I can infiltrate that slavers. As you know, I am a Highland. My mother is the main go-to for these. All I need to be is in the right place and I will help you.
And as an escaped slave myself... Well, I say escape.
do you have your holy symbol on display currently?
I mean, the symbol is ever so...
Slightly
What's the word?
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's slightly different, but
Altered.
it's also stitched into my clothing. Like, the pattern was stitched into my clothing, if I remember rightly, but it wasn't quite the same symbol.
We made up it's anyone who's a follower of Triferion, like devout, would recognize
Yeah.
it, but anyone who isn't very knowledgeable on religion would just think it's just a pretty pattern.
As Notchgrin seems to think about your thing about the resistance, he notices, well, that pattern and goes, "That! Seen that?
Where?
This?
Down the lower city. There's been flyers circulating occasionally."
Oh, for God's sake.
Were they really well made, or were they like badly drawn?
No, very well made.
So they're not yours, Val.
I was going to say I do a mail order service now. Send it out to all cities.
They, well,
Let's pay Rook to do it. Like,
they are not overly inflammatory yet. The Radiant Templars have not started confiscating or anything, but they start to call into question small things, little things that the priesthood are doing, and calling for people to think for themselves and learn to defend themselves and things like that.
Got a bit of an idea.
Right.
So
To tell.
you might not like it, but I can pretend to join the works and oversee the slaving from the slavers. We have rings where we can communicate with each other, do we not?
Well, you guys.
only over 30 foot, I think.
80 feet.
80 feet.
It's 80 feet range.
We did have some speaking stones or something, didn't we? What's the range on them?
Yeah, I believe you do have a paired set of sending stones.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be
what's the
better?
range on that?
A sending stone is unlimited range, but it's a 1 use per long rest.
Oh, right. Well, it's still something.
It might not be as much of a plan then. I was going to say we can keep in contact with each other as I'm working.
It goes, I can cast sending.
Oh, you can, that's true.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's not the only way in.
It's just an idea in case we've got no other ideas.
Well, there's two other options.
Notchgrin goes, there's a couple of, obviously the main gates, but if you need papers. If you want to access the city directly, you need to have citizenship papers. Even if you are a slave, you need a mark born on you by one of the actual owners in the city, which you must show before entering. Otherwise, even to visit, you need some form of papers, but then you get shipped straight to the visitors district, where you must await for either your business or an escort. The only other entrance is the Pilgrim's Gate on the eastern side, but
And what would that involve?
the Pilgrim's Gate is the end of the Pelor pilgrimage leading through the Desert of Rust. You are expected to arrive with only minimal equipment, clothing, that sort of thing. Once inside, you are ushered straight to the Pilgrim's District, where you are to spend your time in meditation and self-reflection until you are able to attend one of the masses at the cathedral or to view one of the relics. But
I mean,
those places are not exactly ironclad.
no, I'm both wondering if we're getting smuggled in through that merchant friend of yours. Or are we go in as
But then we can't move around because we'll get sniffed
Oh,
out.
the brothel.
Yeah.
You know someone from the brothel, but I don't know if we could get in contact with them. Because you say they contact you.
She sends me missives by messenger bird. Different birds.
Is there any way? How often does she send you messages? Could we send one back on the bird for her to read?
There's a possibility. I was expecting a message within the next day or so.
This is going to be difficult.
How sympathetic are they? would their business be better off if the city wasn't the way it was?
Darcina is sympathetic towards my cause because of the children. She is not a fan of slavery anyway, but she does what she can for those she can. She hires up female slaves and tries to give them a safer life, not working in the brothel because that is not allowed, but working as maids, cooks, that sort of thing in the brothel. She tries to give them a little bit of safety, but her resources are not limitless.
Either that or I try and get in contact with the underground, but if we do that, they'll be doing us a favor, which means we have to do a favor for them. Which...
Or we try and get in touch with Thandor.
Oh, we could try and get hold of him, but he said that he was out on business, so he might not.
He might also know of a way in.
Wait, you've met him. You could send him a sending.
Yeah, I could do.
Should we get in contact with him, see if he knows anything? Say that we're here.
I think we need to potentially pool our ideas, work out what is.
If we could have a load of things happening all at once, it would also help.
Yeah.
Val, it's at this moment you feel a small hand tug on your wing.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of look back, and there is a small red-scaled dragonborn child, a girl by the look of it, and she is just holding your wing, going, "You've got wings!" And Notchgrin just goes, Vadin, I told you to hide.
It's
but
fine.
He's got wings.
I kind of flutter the wings a little bit.
He's got wings, Laffy Grin. The children call me Laffy Grin. It's
cute.
I can't help it. I'm null. it comes out, especially when I'm nervous.
What was the child's name? Sorry.
Vadun.
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 I'll just turn to Vadun and was just like, when I was young, I went through something very similar to what you're going through right now, and it gets better. And sometimes you get wings, so keep your chin up. I
get wings. Then I could fly away.
Fly away, but also wings can help you help other people.
Yeah, we all want to help Laughing Grin when we get the chance, but we're not old enough yet. He says so.
Yes, you're too young.
But he gives us training sometimes. Yeah. We all get sticks, and he teaches us, little bits and pieces about how to defend ourselves.
You'd be better off teaching them how to hide, cover their tracks, disguise themselves.
Oh, he does that too. I mean, you didn't see any of us until we were right next to you.
I wasn't looking for you.
That's true.
And your children, you're not... Well, I suppose children could be a threat. Mostly.
What's a threat?
You'll understand when you're older.
Okay. And then she just goes running off, and you see what looks like a tabaxi child, but they're missing one ear, poke their head out of a bush, and they look a little bit older than Vadun, and they grab her and just sort of drag her back into the bush.
Cute.
I never thought I'd like a gnoll.
Never thought I'd like a child.
I'm different from normal gnolls. I was found as a cub and put straight into the Colosseum.
If you'd been like any other gnoll, you'd be dead.
And I wouldn't have blamed you. Shall we regroup and then think of a plan?
Let's
or
consolidate our ideas then, I guess. Let's write down everything that we can do.
He watches Notchgrin, looks up and goes, "It's getting late. You're probably best to stay here. The Radiant Templar don't sortie this far into the woods. But if you went out, they might have Hyperion hounds with them, and you might get caught. You can stay here, but please, try to stick to the edges. I will bring you food and water when you need it. Yes?"
All right.
It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for your hospitality. Sandal says this as he's really just been glued into trying to sort out the nut arm that he's got. He's like trying to
As-
figure out like the mechanisms for attaching it to like nerves and stuff like that.
Yeah. As you're doing that, Xandal, a very small pair of hands sort of like touch the metal in front of your eyes.
Xander
You
just
can-
kind of glances across. Doesn't
I mean,
make
they'd
an
have to be
effort
very
to move
small
it out
hands
of
to
the
be
way.
small against
Yeah.
goblins.
You look up and you see a tiny little
Again.
Aarakocra.
Oh.
Tiny, tiny little Aarakocra, and it's a chick. It looks like it's probably barely hatched, but you see it's missing one wing, and there's like a big bandage on its back. But it's looking at this arm, and then sort of looks up at you, and then back at the arm, and goes, "Huh?"
This one wouldn't be for you, but it's not to say that I can't make one once I've mastered this one.
As you're speaking, this Aarakocra has it's not taking in anything. It is very much a baby. It's just fascinated by this thing that you've got. It's a shiny arm. It thinks it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Realizing this, he's just sort of like using what bits he's got sort of like mastered and worked out. Like he just pulls on things and just quietly shows how it works.
This Aarakocra chick starts clapping and is just like really into it. And eventually, Notchgrin comes over and goes, "I am so sorry. Come along with a
fine.
wing."
It's fine.
By the way,
He uses the hand,
there
the
is-
arm to wave at it as it goes.
Xandal, you feel a small shudder go down your spine as somewhere Finri suddenly has a rush of affection and motherly intent.
Are you like magically linked to your girlfriend or something?
No,
I
I'm
actually am.
just like,
It's
I'm
always
just
Well,
doing,
like-
technically, no, I'm not.
Or is
we're
this
not
like
in
the whole,
range.
oh, Finley would love this kind of
it's more along the
Cute.
lines of
cuteness?
it's just like Finri has this second sense for when Xandal's doing something that is
Either
she
shouldn't
is
be or
asthma,
is
so-
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is Asimit, so I guess maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Xandal just kind of like freezes in tracks, like, I'm going back to work.
But yeah, Notch,
Right, I've written down everything that we've got so we can consolidate.
Notchgrin brings you over some wood and starts you a small fire, and then after about an hour, he brings over bowls of what looks like it's a bit of a scant stew. It's got vegetables in it, which you guess are the ones he was stealing from the fields, and there is a little bit of meat, but not a huge amount.
Have you got
I've
that?
written it
pouch?
in the treasure thing in the journal, so you guys can all
yeah.
see the list of things. So it'll make
Can you?
it
I mean,
easier.
it might be helpful if they probably don't get much seasoning and stuff. Maybe.
Right, and you watch as starts just like pulling out handfuls of spices and dumping them into Notchgrin's paws. He's like,
No. Yeah, let him control the spice.
Notchgrin like gets a bunch of bags and puts them in and goes, "This will be useful, thank you." And then goes back over, and you can see now there is roughly 15 children in this clearing, and they're all sat around this cauldron as he dishes up stew and passes it out to each of them. And they seem in fairly good spirits, but you see that they are in a variety of races. There's that Tabaxi, there's the Dragonborn Vaden, there's that small Aarakocra chick, there's what looks like a couple of lizard folk, some kobolds, a couple of goblins, and all of them are. Some of them look very thin or look like they've recently recovered from starvation. There's some like Witherwings who have quite obvious wounds and missing like parts. Like you see one of the goblins has had both their like pointed ears just sliced completely. And though they have like stubs, they're just stubbed ears. And you can see that there is another Dragonborn, this one looking like they're probably on the edge of teenage years, a male. But you see, Val, similarly to you, when you did it to yourself, their horns have been ground down, their tail has been chopped off, and you can see like there is also evidence of like some of their scales being pulled out, and they sit a bit further away from everyone else and seem a bit a bit withdrawn. Like, you can tell from their age, they have more understanding of what happened to them, and is probably stewing in a little bit of resentment.
Once everybody's eaten, I will probably say that where possible, Val and Ert will go around and just do a little bit of healing, amending of stuff that they can actually physically mend. And Val...
Notchgrin watches you like a hawk the whole time. He's trusting you to do this, but he is wary the whole time.
Can I try
Can
and give the
Xandal
kids
come along
some
and help as
hiding
well?
tips
Hang on.
and stuff?
I think there's at least three of us that want to do stuff, so...
Yeah.
So, as you go to Notchgrin and say that, Notchgrin goes, "Don't trust you quite enough for that yet. Sorry."
What, teaching them to sneak and not be caught?
Not yet. No.
You don't want to protect them, that's up to you.
They are protected for here for now.
You should not rely on this place too much.
I will not. I have
If we
been
fail
doing this.
to sort that city out, it's only going to take them so long to...
I have been
come up
doing
as
this for a year. Do you think these
Yeah,
children
is
have all
that
been-
it?
You think these children have been here a full year? No. I have ways of getting them further away from the city.
Do more.
Out of curiosity, roughly how many of you are staying here?
How do you mean?
Like, he's just asking, like, how roughly, not an exact number, but roughly how many people are
So there's
currently residing in the
15
settlement.
15 children and Notchgrin, so 16 who normally are here, and then you
Yeah.
guys have arrived. You can tell that there's room in this glade for much more.
Okay. Do you have a few empty containers that I can use just for a moment?
I think we have some old vases and crates, yes.
The crates will be perfect. Barrel, maybe?
Yes, and you watch as Notchgrin and this teenaged Dragonborn go and get a couple of crates and barrels and bring them across.
This isn't much, and this will only last for 24 hours. I mean, it's going to help you at least for a little bit, and I'm going to create food and water into the
Okay.
barrels.
Let me just double check. I think create food and water should last.
The food lasts for 24 hours. The water is clean and doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
No. Enough to sustain.
Yeah.
Oh, the food is bland but nourishing and spoils. Yeah, it spoils if eaten after 24 hours. Yeah. Notchgrin looks down and goes, "Thank you. This will help. I won't have to go foraging tonight."
It's good to rest sometimes.
Yes.
Fiona actually keeps.
And
It's the
protect them if
person
you're
who
tired.
never rests.
Yeah.
Yeah, pot kettle black.
What's
Yeah,
Fiona
Fiona
doing?
is actually Fiona keeps a distance because she's aware that she's probably going to be associated with not good
Yeah.
things.
Ert, can I borrow the book a second?
Oh no!
Oh,
That's
Here we
it's
go.
4 minutes past 8. Here we go.
Oh, we're early.
Yeah, I think the DM's crashed.
The
For
DM
now.
has crashed.
Oh,
No.
we're
Oh,
getting some
no.
audio.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
Is it
he's
time
pulling it
to
back. It's pulling
take
it
a
back.
break?
Actually, to be
No.
fair, it is 4 minutes past 8. That might be a good idea.
yeah, whilst we're waiting for the
We'll see-
DM
we'll
to
see
like
if
reset,
see if the DM gets back.
we will take a quick break, feed pets, go and grab your own drinks and snacks. And
Go hydrate.
Go hydrate, it's important, and we will be back very, very soon. Catch you in a minute.
See you in a minute.
Hello, welcome back, and I'm back. Huzzah! Apparently, I didn't ever think I was having technical problems, but apparently I was on that end. So
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, pick back up where we left off. You guys spend your evening sort of interacting where trusted to with the children in this camp, and then
I had just asked Ert for the book.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. you
Pulls the book out and hands it to you.
And I go to, I think it's on page 2 of the book. And I'm going to pull out my helmet.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of put it in my bag for now. And I'm going to wait for when the teenage Dragonborn kind of goes off on his own again and starts sulking or, you know, doing whatever teenage Dragonborns do in the corner. And just kind of
I mean, you're a teenager yourself. But...
Yeah.
Technically speaking,
No,
but I'm an
technically he's
older
not
teenager.
anymore.
Oh, no,
You're not-
no, I
you're
lost
not-
that
you're
year's
not-
life.
Yeah, you're now 20.
I'm now 20 because I lost a year's
Yeah,
worth
still-
of my life.
20-year-olds are still children, let's be honest.
And I'm just going to sidle up next to him and kind of almost when I sit down, make sure that I bump him a little bit and just see how he reacts.
He just sort of grunts, and you've
Ooh.
approached him when he's like sat at the edge of the water, and you can see he is a blue-scaled dragonborn,
Mm-hmm.
and he's currently sat with like his feet dangling in the water of this lake, and he's just sort of like looking gloomily at his reflection. He easily sees you approaching in the reflection of the lake,
Yeah.
but he doesn't move away or anything. But as you sort of like bump him, he just sort of grunts and just doesn't respond.
I'll just be like, so was that you? Sorry, I'm being attacked by a bug as well. So was that you or was that them?
Them.
Was all of it them?
Yes.
I had the same thing, but I did that to myself.
Just sort of glances at you at the corner of his eye, but that's about all.
I imagine your horns would probably start to grow back a bit.
Probably. Were you in
But
one of
yeah.
the households or Colosseum or?
I was prey.
Oh.
You think it can't get worse? Jesus.
The nobles like to play games. There's a whole district which is a park only for nobles. They cart slaves into it, set us loose. Then they release the hounds and come in with their weapons. The lucky ones die quick.
Val sits kind of contemplating this because he was too young, and he just got sick. He didn't see that side of it,
Yeah.
and he just goes, actions by them are abhorrent. Slavery in itself is abhorrent. And I say, I'll admit I did this to myself because I blamed my own skin for what was happening to me. And I didn't realise that this happened to you by their hands, not by your own. I was going to tell you a stupid story about me wearing this helmet for years and years and years and then finally finding pride, but it seems worthless to say now. But it does get better. And they will suffer. They will get what's coming to them, I promise you. If not by my hand, by God's hand or whatever.
They say that they do what they do in the name of God. Many people say they do many things in the name of gods and goddesses, yet the gods and goddesses don't do anything.
Do they not? Or is it just a case of certain
never
gods do
done
certain
anything.
things and certain gods
They've-
do other things?
They've never done anything to help me or my little sister. Before she was ripped apart by hounds in front of my eyes. You're right, they're going to get what's coming to them. But it's going to be by me one day when I burn that place to the ground.
There
And with
are
that,
also...
he gets up and stalks off. He just ignores you and just walks away.
Fair enough. Val kind of looks down at the helmet and is just like... He realizes, even though he's suffered, and he's sworn to his god to try and end the suffering of, like, people who have been taken advantage of and slaves, he's really only got one perspective of it. And he's coming to terms with how... Not how stupid he is, but how little of the story he has. And looking down at the helmet, it's a symbol of that ignorance, and he kind of almost tries to break the helmet and force the helmet down into like a small object that he can chuck away at some point. I don't know if he would have the physical strength to do that, but then he just sticks it in his bag.
Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
$13.
13. You make a couple of dents in the side and a couple of gouges with your claws in the front, but all you've really succeeded in doing is making the helmet look like it's crying.
Fiona walks up behind Val, and she says, she sort of looks down and sees what he's doing and says, "You know that can be your strength as well, right?"
Being able to break stuff?
No. Looking back at your mistakes, it showed you've learnt from them, and walks away.
And yeah, Val kind of returns in a minute to the group. He's got a stack of papers, some of which he like doodles on, some of which he makes flyers and bits and bobs. And he just makes a note of Vaden's name, just so that he doesn't kind of forget. And puts all his papers back in his bag and joins on with the rest of the evening.
Okay.
Has Gunther ever told Talia his surname? His family name?
No. No, from what you know, Gunter either doesn't have a surname or gave up his surname.
I don't know, just part of me wanted to like try and find his home or something, I guess. But if I don't know his family name, I can't do that, so okay. So we need to consolidate our information?
Yeah, we need to figure out a plan.
Right, well, I've written down our options. I've put it in the treasure thing, so it should be in everyone's journal.
Okay.
Just so we can all see, makes it easier if we can all see the same info. So we've got the brothel, a merchant, try and contact Fandor Brighthammer, risk owing the underground a favor, or the slavers route. Those are our options.
I mean, there's
None of
multiple
them seem
slavers'
very
routes.
promising. Yeah, I know, I'm just loosely, I'm saying. So, Vienna could pretend to be a slaver, she could take down the slavery entirely, we could spy, all of those options under one thing.
We could return a escaped slave to them to get in.
They're not going to think that the slaves are going to return their own. Well, we're not going to be seen as people, Val. None of us are, except maybe Xandal. Or Vienna if we go to slaves route. The rest of us are just cattle.
The issue with the slavers route is Vienna's going to need paperwork.
Oh, but there's not even that. They might... is it well known that you're not involved with slavery anymore, Vienna? Like, did you leave in disgrace? Is there anything we need to know about your family that they might know? How do we know we're not just sending you in and then they'll be like, haha, you've betrayed your family, and then they capture you or something?
Last I checked, they didn't know it was me.
Also,
She has
Vienna,
diplomatic papers, doesn't she?
Yeah. Vienna, you do have diplomatic papers, and the other thing is, you do know Sargast was sent away 10 years ago.
Yeah, he has
He
no
would-
idea of my past
Yeah.
at all.
Our papers, that's a point. We could. No, you'd say if we went as.
Let's not
We'd end up
forget
in the
why-
visitors
I
district,
was
but
gonna
we could
say,
do
Don't forget
what we
why
didn't do
we're
or
here
not.
in the first place. Is we need some info
Information.
on him.
Yeah. But oh god, it is going to be hard to stomach, Val, and I doubt it would work because the green bitch knows that I know that she's a slutty and not a bloody elf. But we could try,
My
maybe
plan
going the
at the
same route as
moment-
Durana with the diplomatic immunity from Maham. Get Boras to send us papers again, but it might not work.
Vienna, what's your plan?
I was going to infiltrate the slavers and just do what Drow do. Turn them against each other. Let them fight their own.
Will it work though?
That's
Will
what
that cause enough of a ruckus that we can get in and get information? That will only stop the slavers. There's still the
It's-
actual temple guard.
It's literally the reason Naveen is failing. Drows attack each other at any little whim.
Mm.
But that will only cause discourse within.
It'll
that group.
cause a discourse.
Unless we can cause discourse in more than one location. If we could get the brothel to rebel, get the merchants to rebel, which would probably be really hard because they're probably profiting quite well, but they're sympathetic. If we could get multiple things to go off all at once, it would cause chaos in the city and give us more freedom to move.
Well,
If we could,
he said it was a worker in the warehouse district who was
just one
sympathetic.
person.
Yeah, a single person, and he never said
They might be able
merchant.
to
He
upset
said
stuff.
worker.
Worker. Merchant worker. I just loosely wrote it down. But, if we could get multiple distractions going on at once. Or
I
we try
think
and sneak in.
We need to try and find more friends within the city, so to say. We need to know who's on our side and who's not, and we need to work together.
Well, do you think maybe contacting Thandor might be a good start then?
I think it can be a start.
Or we can contact him and see what information he can give us, what he knows,
Yeah.
see if he can help, and then with that information we can decide our next move, do you think?
Yeah, because my route might be the slower version. It's going to take time.
Time is not on our side.
Exactly.
Beats my idea.
What was your
Backtrack
idea?
on whatever main road we think he might be doing. Find a secluded place that he's going to pass and act like bandits and murder the shit out of him.
Except, I know we don't particularly work for Maham, but if we do this and we get caught, Boras will have no choice but to disavow any knowledge. We will lose any protection from Maham.
I'm
We
aware.
need that evidence. Yeah,
I'm just
we need
saying
some
We need
that-
evidence. He has diplomatic immunity. We cannot act on him until we get information from.
I'm
his
just saying
quest.
that is
We need to sneak into his
if
mansion.
everything else fails, that is a last ditch.
Well, if everything else fails, he'll already be in the refop by the time that happens.
Well, the point in itself. How much does is it Worthington? How much
yeah.
does he associate with the slavers?
How much influence does he even have?
It's like, how well are the slavers in their favour? I could just get the information out of them.
That's true.
Just a thought, but again, I'd need to know that. I'd need to know how much influence they have.
Well, let's message Thandor, see what he knows. He probably has his fingers in every pie, let's be honest.
Mhm.
He's a pretty sly individual.
I mean, I wouldn't call him
If you
sly.
don't mind
He's a
my
man of the
asking.
cloth.
Yes, but he's not exactly your conventional man of the cloth.
If you don't mind my asking, who is this Thandor?
He's a dwarf. He trained Val how to fight. He helped my Gunter
Well.
too.
Kind of.
He helped my Gunter learn how to fight. And you know how well Gunter fights.
Well, no.
More than one way.
Fandor didn't train him how to fight. He took Gunter to
Took him
a
in.
monastery.
Yeah, he helped Gunter
Yeah.
get to a place where
Pretty
he
much the
learned
same
to
as what
fight, I
happened
should
to
say.
me.
Yeah. But let's say, send him a message. See if he's even in the town. If he's not even there, then it's a
Okay.
moot point.
All right. Fandy man, are you in Refop? We are nearby. Need to know how to get in and who to trust. Please.
Dad, I'd say maybe you should mention the slot, but you run out of words.
She sort of sits there for a second, and then sort of her eyes glaze over, and she goes, Fandyman says he is far, far away.
Okay.
Just going past Durinar.
In my neck of the woods.
Says... Oh, hang on. Her eyes glaze over again, as you can see she's getting another sending. Says we can trust leaders of other temples,
Makes sense.
and if we can get inside, find the wings of freedom.
I knew there was some kind of resistance that screams resistance. Wings of freedom? Hang on.
I mean, it could just be a group of Dragonborn who have got wings, you know.
Who cares what it is? It's a resistance, Val. They can help us. Okay, so.
Are the wings of freedom.
Oh dear. She goes, do you want me to send him another message, or is that enough?
Warn him of this laddie for a start. Say
Okay.
that there's some. They're bad lizard people, I don't know.
Fat Worthington man has slardy, large toad creatures working for him. Be careful.
Bats. Slavery bats.
Could you roll a wisdom saving throw for me for please?
Oh
Yeah.
no! Oh no!
Wisdom
I think we're being
saving throw.
spied on. That could only mean scrying.
21.
21. That is enough to save, but she's still going to take.
Oh shit! Oh no! Is magic getting fucked up by the fucking?
18 points of psychic damage, so half to 9.
Fuck.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say that was the half damage was 18.
No, 9 points of psychic damage. As as she sits there and you watch as she finishes casting the spell, and then shudders and shakes, and her nose starts bleeding.
Ed, you alright? What the hell's wrong?
That was what? Something.
You okay?
Don't know whether that went through.
Oh.
Endings are going to be disruptive. It started already, guys. Chaos is coming, I guess.
Something latched onto it and did something.
What can do that?
She
Anyone know any
watches her
spells to do
eyes
that?
Didn't-
go blank
Didn't
again.
that leader of the Saladi do much the same with you when you saw her true form?
He just screamed into my mind that I knew that was it.
You watch as
Just pretend.
Ert's eyes glaze over again, and she goes, Fandyman says, why am I warning him about dragons?
What magic can interfere with a sending spell and change what we said? I don't really want to risk you saying the lizard people again and then getting your mind stabbed.
Yeah, just tell him we'll speak to him some other time.
Speak in person soon, maybe. Hurry back if you can. We need all the help we can get.
She sends that sort of message and then goes, he says that will be unlikely as he is being sent to save a cleric from the Nuladzar spires.
King. Yeah, that's a long way away.
Nuladzar?
Yeah, the
That's
Nuladzar
near
spires.
Craghammer, isn't it?
It's south of the Drake Crags.
Yeah, that's like
It's
long.
way
across the map.
to the west. Yeah.
Well, we got some information. We've got a resistance group we could try and contact.
How fast
Oh.
can Artax run if it constantly ran across land for the next 30 days?
If it didn't
You gonna
get
try and
attacked
send
by
him a
something,
horse?
Yeah.
then probably fairly fast. But Oh, by the way, Blossom.
Yes.
I've forgotten until now, but the compass is vibrating
yeah.
in your pouch.
Oh,
That's just pointing at the towards the east.
Yes, pointing towards the east,
Yeah.
out past the city.
Yeah.
it's part near the ruins of Balford Castle, isn't it, that it's pointing to? I would have
No,
thought that's the
this
nearest
one's
main
pointing
one.
towards the
Desert of
Phoenix
Rust with
Pendant.
Phoenix
In
Pendant.
the
Ah.
Desert of Rust.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, the Desert of Rust. Yeah. Not really have time to go there.
I mean, if we are sending
I mean, we're near the
Vienna,
desert.
if we're sending Vienna in on a solo mission to try and gather information, we may
Well, if she does that and we do the pilgrim path through the desert, we'd be in the desert.
and try and get the item.
Pendant.
Mm.
Well, it's just risky. The longer we take doing side things, the more.
Well, it's
I mean,
concurrent
if
activity.
this is
isn't
happening
it?
to sending
It's-
spells already, then Lord knows what could happen.
Yes, and that's actually changed my opinion about me stopping with the slavers.
Because how do we not
I
that
don't
they can't
know if
interfere with sending
anything-
stones?
Yeah, anything you could tell me might get interfered.
Yeah, she might get misinformation. That's a damn good spell to have, misinformation. I wish I had that back in Durana. That would have saved a lot of time.
I think we should get more information about this Wings of Freedom.
Wings of Freedom, yes.
I want them to know that I'm on their side. And if I do infiltrate the slavers, they know that they can get information to me and so forth.
I mean, I could write a message in Thieves' Cant. Wings of Freedom, they're bound to have a rogue on their side or something. They're probably going to communicate it the old ways. I could send a message saying we're looking to contact them via the brothel. She sends messages, but that's in a few days.
Sorry, Blossom.
I was gonna say, it seemed like I've forgotten the Null's name already. That he was getting messages.
Notch Grin, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
Notchgrin.
yeah.
He was getting physical messages, right, rather than sending
Via
or
bird.
anything.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
likely that if we could use Queenie to go back and forth between us, that
That's
would.
not a bad idea, but he said he didn't know where the messages were coming from because it came by. So I was wondering if we could figure out where they're coming from, I could send Queenie to deliver a message.
Wait for a message to come. Get Queenie to follow.
Oh
the
well,
boat.
I meant if
Yeah.
Vienna was going in, if we didn't trust sending, we could try.
I could send Queenie in and out, but then there's no guarantee that Queenie can't get interfered with, dispelled, or killed, and
You would
dispelled
know
that way.
if she was dispelled, though.
I would. Would I know if my?
You
if
would, yeah, you do
I
feel
would get a
there is
feeling of.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would
I
feel the connection
sense
break.
the disconnect, I guess.
Mm.
But we'd have to write them any messages in the ways of my sort, and hope that whoever interferes with it, who's also of my sort, is on our side and not theirs.
Yes.
Thieves' Cant's not foolproof if your enemies are also able to read it. I mean, I could try and mention the Talon and hope that maybe the Wings of Freedom have. We're very far away from Durana. They probably don't even know about what happened there.
I think we need to get some more trust out of the Knoll.
I'm
Maybe.
trying. I
I
thought
know.
maybe the Cowl might help, being he's a follower of the Raven Queen too, but he does not like me.
I mean, with
Or
your
us.
diplomatic papers having been to quite a few different cities,
Hmm.
does it normally allow you to pass in and out as you please, or is it a case of
Oh,
you go in and
I
once?
will have papers. There'll be enough I can get in. I
Yeah.
just can't get you lot
I
in.
mean,
Hmm.
I can become a raven for an hour. I could ride on your shoulder as your familiar for a bit.
I just meant
That would get
almost
two of
as
us
a
in.
day trip, going in, having a look
Just
around,
gather information.
even the basics, because this Knoll hasn't been in or hasn't properly got the
2
knowledge
weeks.
that we need.
He was
Even
there
if it's
2
just
weeks
a
ago.
yeah. I thought you
I'll
said he
need
hadn't
a
been.
reason to leave again.
Aye. Well, maybe you go in and then I come as a missive, calling you back as a raven. I
Back
could
where?
hand you the paper and then you could be like, I need to leave, and hope that they let you out.
And if
Or-
I need to go back in again?
Or you claim that
Well, it's
you're not currently staying inside the city because the city is too bright.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh,
So
but then they might not
you've
trust you because it's Pellar's light. You don't believe.
No, because my cousin is in the underground.
Yeah.
So you could make the excuse that you've set up camp in somewhere dark in the trees, and that's where, you'll be making regular trips backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
It's a shitty
That
lie,
is-
but it's a lie that might pass. Better than a
It's a
lie that
risk.
wouldn't pass.
It's either that or I stay in there. And
I
just
will try
ride
and
the
meet you in.
tide. Yeah.
You could, I mean, I can only be a raven for about an hour. I'm not a druid. I don't even know how I do it, to be honest. This cowl does all sorts of things. But I suppose I could send Queenie in and out with messages to you. But it's whether they'd allow it. Might look suspicious.
Well, if there's a bird already going in and out with messages.
It's not guaranteed. I mean, if it's been not seen, maybe. But if it's been
Yeah.
seen,
That's why I
we
think
could try.
I think we should learn its route first. So if that bird can get in and out, if Queenie can follow that bird to wherever it is in the city.
I mean, I'm
then
just
got a
saying, if
safe
it's a
route in and out.
bird and it's sending a message, I could just tie a message to its legs and it could return it to the. And I could follow as well so that we know in the future where they are, but.
Yeah, and I'm just future planning.
Mm.
If you know a safe route that bird can get in and out, you then know a safe route that Queenie can come in and out with messages as well. So she's
true.
protected.
There is a downside as well to you being transformed.
The
hounds.
the dogs. You're right.
Mhm.
There's no guarantee that my scent will be different just because I'm a raven.
Mhm.
I
That's the
mean,
point.
The magic.
Queenie might be a better idea.
we can try and talk this through until the cows come home. I think we just got to try something, and then if shit hits the fan, we just deal with it as and
Yeah.
when.
I
Fiona,
mean,
you've got multiple
got us
ways of
this
getting
far.
out. You've got weapons, you've got magic. Hell, I can give you some transformation taffy, so you could potentially turn into a bear and run out if needs
I
be.
could give you some licorice so you could hide well, but I don't know how well it
So
would work.
if
It
shit
seems
hits the
bright.
fan, you get out. If you can't send us messages, then we'll try and find another solution. If you can, happy days, and we'll just try and gather what information we can from the outside.
So you
That's
try
right.
and get in. I
Like I
will
said-
send a missive and then follow you as Queenie. We'll try and communicate and hope that it works.
But bear in mind that it might end up I stay in there and just ride the tide, but it is what it is if we need to get something done. But bear in mind that what I may end up doing is if I get found by the slavers, I will be following, but I'm going to say it now, my intention is not to, I'm just playing the part.
I understand.
Val turns and is just
Sometimes
like, "I
you have
trust
to
you."
do pretty dark shit to get. I've done some pretty fucked up shit in the Talon. I completely understand. You do
I'll
what
do
you
what I
have to.
can to not bring any harm to them. I will do that much.
And you've got a backup
Keep up
character,
face.
right?
Keep face. Keep face.
Out of curiosity, with the building of the rifle, would Sandal at least have the telescope yet?
I would say by this point,
Or the
yes, you
scope?
have.
Yeah.
Yes, you have managed to build the scope.
Okay. Sandal goes rooting through his bag of holding, and he kind of like pulls out like this small scope. Doesn't give me much magnification, but I could always watch the city from outside.
I mean, up the top, there's light coming in from there. That would be a good vantage point. Val could fly you up there.
We could keep an eye.
Set a
and
watchtower.
we can pass messages between each other.
I will
That
show
way.
you the world.
I can send Queenie around and shit. Yeah. So is this the crazy plan we're going with then?
By the way, by this point, night has fallen completely, but there is still like a pink hue to the sky above. Like there is still like almost like dawn on the horizon, still there.
I thought to sleep with a
Like,
cloth pair of eyes.
It's gotten dark enough in here to sleep, but there is still just like a small amount of light bleed coming in.
Sorry, I can hear my birds, I can't see where they are.
I see them fly across the camera a few times. But I
Yeah.
don't know where they've gone.
Yeah, it's alright, I
They're not.
found
Are
them.
they perched?
No,
were
they're,
perched on your
they're
bit of
over there.
driftwood at the
Yeah. I was a bit concerned for a second. I was like,
back. You're like, oh god, have they got out? So
yeah.
so you sneak in.
Well,
what do
obviously,
you need to
wait
do?
till the. Don't know whether it's worth waiting for the day or waiting for the
I
night.
would wait.
Like,
We need to just probably rest before we do anything. So we
Yeah.
rest in the morning. You sneak in.
In the
I
morning,
will-
we plan.
In
Yes.
the morning we plan. we kind of planned, but
Yeah.
we actually plan in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Fiona
all-
makes her way into the town, infiltrates the slavers, fixes everything, and then we all meet back up the Winchester for a nice cold pint.
So,
The Duke and Jester, I should say.
And wait till everything else blows over.
Yeah.
Mm.
so you all settle down and drift off to sleep.
What will actually happen is Vienna blows up the city.
I mean,
you
every
all-
city
Again.
we've
Third
gone
one.
to so far, except Maham, we've kind of blown up. So
You all do complete a long rest,
sweet.
and as you awake and begin moving around in the morning, you see Notchgrin getting up and sort of shaking himself off, and then he looks up at the opening, sniffs a few times, and then holds out his arm, and you watch as from the opening a white dove comes fluttering down
Excellent.
and lands on his arm, and he starts taking off a message from its leg.
Can you hold it? I want to send a message back, if
Uh,
possible.
Yeah, I'll have. It normally sticks around until I have a message to return.
Good.
With anyway, you
Right,
see,
let's get cooking
get-
a message.
gets this piece of paper off. Talia, roll me a perception check.
Okay. Come on, dice, don't betray me. 19.
19. There is a message capsule on one of the dove's legs. On the other is what looks like a tag.
Huh.
And you get the feeling it's probably like an ownership tag to show, like, if it gets shot down or something, it can be returned to probably the shop where it came from.
Right.
And on this tag is the initials WOF.
Wings of freedom.
Woof.
Waff.
Yeah.
And you
That's-
watch the Knoll. Notchgrin opens up the message and seems to read through it and goes, "Okay, yeah, okay, right.
I think all right.
Dacine's found Noble with a couple of kids that might be a good target for me.
Ah,
Girls hear things, get rumors, pass them on."
ruffles are a great way to get information. Get them long in their cups, and then they talk all sorts of things.
Exactly. You watch as he picks up a piece of scrap paper and begins scribbling on it. His penmanship is awful.
do you want me to write for you? It's a bit better. I can write a little better than you.
No, they're used to my writing by now. If one of my
Right.
messages doesn't turn up,
May I
it's
add, just quoted word for word? It might not make any sense to you, but it will
Right.
make sense to them.
write your own and add it in with mine. He hands you another piece of paper.
Okay. So what are we writing on here? What are we saying? Wings of Freedom, you have friends, but we need help too. Can you get us in?
Wouldn't it
Sound
be
like a
more
good
like
common-
banana, sickle?
It'll be
Stamp,
like,
stamp.
what was it? Sorry, no, it'll be Wings of Freedom. You're a sight for sore eyes. As in, can you offer us a I can't remember. I haven't got the PDF open, but there's ways you can say things in Thieves' Cant. It's really clever. I really want to use it, but me and Paddy need to like learn it. Basically,
You also have
Yeah.
no idea whether the person on the other end of this
can understand
knows
Thieves' Cant.
Thieves' Cant.
I'm just going on the assumption if they're a resistance group and you need to be sneaky, you're probably going to talk in code. Can I see that the message that he received is it in Thieves' Cant or is it in Common?
The message he receives in common.
No, okay. So I'll
But-
just put
But
WOF.
the message he's received is from Darcina,
Yeah.
I was
the
going to
owner
say,
of the brothel.
I'm just saying
yeah.
the wing. We'll just say WOF has friends that would like to get in contact with you,
Okay.
and would
or
Can you
something like that.
push
Add
this.
what is
Yeah.
the key at the end?
Yeah. Are you sure it's what is the key first?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know, the Raven Queen be with you as well. The matron of Raven is with you as well, or something
Okay.
like that. Just yeah,
All right.
something along those lines to try and convey
Noctrin
that kind of
takes your
message.
folded up message. He doesn't look at it. He just
Yeah,
puts
it's in
it in.
Thieves' Cant, so he wouldn't be able to read it anyway. But
So you did write
well,
it in
I hope.
Thieves' Cant.
I wrote it in Thieves' Cant, but the what is the key and the matron will be in common.
Okay.
Just so that I'm trying to like
Cover
there's
bases.
more in cover
Yeah.
bases. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully both get the same message across.
Yeah,
But
Noctrin
funnily enough.
tucks these messages into the capsule, does it up, and then like launches the dove into the air, and it begins taking off towards the opening.
And then I'll be like, and tell Queenie to follow.
Okay. So the dove flies out of the opening, and Queenie follows. Are you using Queenie's senses?
I'll get her to follow herself. She'll still be able to convey things to me, won't she? So I just want her to know the routes, basically.
Yeah.
And then convey
Okay.
it to me. I don't need to be in her eyes to do
All right.
that.
So you guys spend about an hour and a half this morning just sort of relaxing around the camp, with Talia, you getting occasional flashes of Queenie's flight. And as you see this dove approach the city, it is a massive city. Not quite as big as Maham. Maybe about half the size, but still large for like cities that you've been to. And as you are flying from above, you look down, and this city is... There is a large central circular wall, and then shooting off from it is 10 wavy sort of triangle walls. And from above, it looks like a sun. It has been designed in such a way that it looks like a sun from above. And you can see that in each of these 10 like spokes of the sun, at the top point there are these towers with a white crystal at the top, and they are glowing ever so slightly. And then in the very center of the city is this massive cathedral made out of crystal. Like the whole place is see-through, and you can see that like the light as it plays through the crystals refracts and bends and creates beautiful patterns and rainbows and all sorts of things, making art with light. And held aloft above this cathedral by pillars of crystal holding it in place is a massive, probably 500 foot across crystal
I want
that
to
is
steal
just
it.
glowing faintly, and you get the feeling this is the day crystal. And you can see intersecting through the middle of this city just this very faint wave in the air, which you guess to be the gleaming. And as this dove slowly circles the city and then begins to drop, it heads towards the western side of the gleaming, towards this area that still has green and plant life and a couple of trees dotted amongst the actual buildings. The buildings on this side look more like what you're used to. The buildings on the eastern side of the gleaming are very squat. They're like white, and they are obviously designed to deal with the additional heat from the desert side of the city.
Mhm.
But this dove slowly circles down and then goes into a building that looks like it is a giant bird cage. And within, Queenie can see easily 100 birds. You're all like, some in their own compartments, some in joint, and you watch as this... Are you sharing Queenie's senses at this point, or is this still just Queenie sending
I'll
stuff
share
to you?
her senses now that I'm closer.
Okay. Let me just find the correct bit. So you see as a halfling man, very dark-skinned, dreadlocked black hair done into a ponytail, wearing... He's got like a couple of scars across his face and arms that look like they're from talons. And he's just sort of whistling as he comes in and sees the dove and goes, "Haha, welcome back, welcome back. Well, what have we got?" Takes out the missives and sees this too and goes, "Oh, a little weird. Well, that one is for Darcina, I think. I recognize the writing. What is this one?" He sort of looks at it and goes, "Oh, it's a bit gibberish." And then his eyes reach a certain set of words and he freezes. He goes, "Huh." You watch as he reaches down, grabs a pen and paper, scribbles a quick note, and puts it into the tube and launches the dove back into the sky.
I'll follow.
Okay. In about an hour's time, the dove re-enters through the opening, and Notchgrin looks up and goes, "Huh?" Catches the bird, takes out the note, and opens it up and goes, "Huh? Think this is for you."
Handing to me.
Well, he just hands it. He just offers it out to all of you.
Okay.
Probably go to Talia, because she was the one who wrote the note initially. Could be
let's have a
thieves'
look.
cant.
Maybe let's have a look.
As you look, there is not much in this note. There is only pretty much one line. There is written, "Freedom. What is the cage?"
Freedom, what is the cage, Val? We have an
Tyranny.
inn. So I guess we reply.
Okay.
Maybe
quickly...
with tyranny, can we meet?
Tyranny, can we meet? Yeah.
Yeah. You quickly write that down, and the dove launches back off again. Are you sending Queenie back after it, or are you just waiting?
I'll send her back just in case, because I kind of want to know, but keeping her distance more.
All right. You watch as this dove returns back to this large bird cage-like place, and the halfling man again reads the note. This time he gets a pen and paper, quickly scribbles out 2 different notes. He then goes to what looks like a bat that is kept there, hands it 1 note and sends it flying off, and you watch as it flies up briefly and then dives into what looks like an open set of stairs that lead downwards. And
I won't follow that one.
Yeah.
Because it'll be dark.
The other one he puts into the dove's thing and sends it back up into the sky. And again, an hour later, it flies back in through the entrance, this time coming straight to you, Talia, realizing that you are the intended recipient.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll open it up and have a look.
Inside, you see a short missive written in common that reads, "Where would be best to meet?"
We have a problem.
Where is best to meet? Not here. I don't want to bring any eyes over here. If we can, we should protect the children. Maybe back at the original base we made at the farm?
Yeah, it's the abandoned town.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
we want to meet there.
If he can leave.
If he can leave. We'll say, if you can leave the abandoned farm on the outskirts, blah, 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 make sure you're not followed. And... if not, where can we meet you?
Yeah, if not, do you
How
have
would we get in?
another suggestion? Our presence may not be favoured.
Yeah.
Okay. So you send that back. Is Queenie following again?
I don't think she needs to.
I don't think she needs to. I kind of want to because I feel like Paddy's up to something, but no, let's be surprised. No, she's not going to follow.
Okay. Okay.
About
an hour. Again, about an hour later, the dove returns and lands again on your arm, Talia. Now it's looking quite tired by this point. It's done a lot of flying.
I'll give it some of the bird treats I keep.
Oh,
for
poor
Queenie.
bird.
Yeah. But
Give
this
it a
time
little
you pull
stroke.
out the note and it states, "Acceptable. We'll be there this evening."
All right, tonight. He'll meet us tonight.
I will hold
the
my
abandoned
plan.
farm.
There might be a better one. So, yeah,
Yeah?
we'll go with this one.
All right, so we head back to the farm and we wait. We'll wait until it's a bit later. Probably
I'm
cover
going to
in the
keep-
cover of darkness or what little.
Yeah, I'm
darkness
going
there
to
is.
keep my distance because clearly I may have a shadow over
Yes.
this, so I will keep myself hidden as much as I can.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So, after a couple of hours, as the early afternoon begins to drag into sort of the middle, you guys say your goodbyes to the various children and to Notchgrin, who just sort of gives you a nod and goes, "If you need any help, you know where I am now. Just be safe."
Don't worry, we'll make sure to cover our tracks. We won't let anyone hear.
While all the messages have been going backwards and forwards, could Xander have crafted like a small, like metal toy for the little Aarakocra?
Yeah, that is more than easy enough for you to do as an
Yeah.
artificer.
Oh,
Yeah.
cute.
He does
The
that
Aarakocra.
because I imagine the Aarakocra has been sniffing around that armor all bleeding day.
Yeah, you've noticed a number of times the Aarakocra's tried to come over, and then one of the other kids has like picked it up and moved it away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have made like a small toy of similar to a Domiat in appearance.
Yeah.
And just sort of like left it where the Aarakocra can get to it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and as you leave, you do see it playing with it, just sort of like playing with the wings and moving it around. It seems fairly enamored.
Cute.
Okay. But you all crawl back through the tunnel and come back
If-
out into.
1 second. If you accidentally somehow make a web browser full screen, how do I get out of it? What button is it? Oh, hang on. Is it
11?
F? Oh, thank you. Sorry, it just went full screen. I was like, shit, I can't see my notes.
I think you can also just escape out of it, can't you?
I was like, what button did I press? Thank you. Okay, continue.
Okay. So as you guys come out into the forest, are you going to follow the same route that you took to get here?
We'll try and deviate a little bit. I don't want to tread the same paths and make it too obvious that we're coming backwards and forwards. And
Okay.
I will actively try and scrub out footprints and cover our tracks.
Okay, go ahead and make a group
Even if
stealth
it takes
for
longer.
me, please.
Group stealth.
Anyone need a licorice?
Oh, actually, that wasn't too bad.
I don't know whether I need a licorice until after I've already rolled.
Oh.
So
Oh, I got
one.
to 19, but I rolled
On a nat one.
But
Well,
my
this is going
stuff
well.
is so
I'll just do
good.
it.
My modifiers are so good that I can't roll
Well,
a
Yeah,
nat one on
that's
stealth.
You're-
because of
I
reliable.
can't. Yeah.
It still
Yeah.
considers
It's
it
my
a nat
reliable
one.
side.
Your
so red.
lowest is so close
Yeah.
to my highest.
It means I rolled a 1, but I get a plus
Yeah.
9, plus 5, so
Okay.
I get a... Yeah.
Well, no, you're reliable, so it's 10 plus your proficiency.
Yeah.
But
No, I meant
because
I
you-
get plus 5 because I have chameleon armor on top of that. If I'm
Oh,
moving
sure,
slowly, yeah,
So-
that's
Yeah.
what I meant.
So, weaving your way through the trees and making your way slowly and carefully away from the granite hilltop. Most of you are being very stealthy and leaving very little in the way of tracks. Val and Urt, on the other hand, Val seems jumpy, like just from all the stories you've
How
been
did you
hearing
both
from
roll the same?
the kids, etc. It's just got you a little bit in your head. Just seems overly eager to potentially meet another Triferian worshipper. She's on a bit of a
Sure.
high. As you make your way through, a arrow thuds into the tree next to your face, Val.
Oh.
Shit.
We need to run. We need to run now. We cannot afford to get caught now.
And you hear a voice call out to you. What are you doing?
Don't say anything.
I'm gonna guess it's only Val and Urt that's been spotted.
You believe so, yes.
Talia's going to be like, scatter, scatter, scatter. We'll meet there.
Which direction did the arrow come from?
So the arrow has come what would be from your west.
So across the front of my face or across the back of my face? Like
Across
back
the
of my
front
head.
of your face. So
Is it coming from the city
like-
or the farm?
it's crossed over and like hit a tree like right in front of your face. It's like to stop you in your tracks, sort of thing.
Telepathic ring. Guys. Arrow.
Somebody tell him not to say anything. Get down. Or, I don't know.
I
say
didn't.
the
Telepathic
code thing he keeps
ring.
saying.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm whispering to whoever I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Vienna
Insane.
kind of responds back as like, "How quickly can you run?"
Same
Get
quick.
him to say that
Same
code word
speed as
thing.
everything else.
What code word thing?
I asked you a question,
The key thing.
Dragon.
The key thing.
What are you doing here?
I'm leaving.
Vienna gets up. He's with me.
Oh, fucking hell.
And I
Roll
kneel.
Roll a persuasion check, Vienna.
I give her see fate to give her advantage, please. 'Cause
Yep,
I
you
can't
can.
afford to get caught now.
Persuasion.
I'm just like there, reaching my hand out, twiddling with her threads. Come on, pick this up.
Persuasion with advantage.
Persuasion.
Okay.
Nat
I'm so
20.
fucking glad I did that.
Nice.
You watch
Oh,
as
thank God your dice are
a
good.
typical woodsman, human male, long brown hair tied in a ponytail, bit of a beard, soft sort of brown eyes, but currently with a long bow drawn, steps out from behind a tree, glances between you both and well, all three of you and goes, on your way, Netta, and make sure you keep them in chains next time, otherwise I'll think they're escaped.
Do you think I need chains for them? Watch this. Move.
I move. I duck my head down.
Quickly moves as well.
Yeah. I kind of duck my head down to show, like, the respect that is...
Just be careful going through the woods in future. Again, I'm one of the nicer huntsmen out here. The others would have shot to kill. And he turns
just
around and starts
on the
walking
ground,
away.
not moving, going.
Yeah, he
Would you-
turns around and starts moving away, and you quickly lose sight of him.
That was close.
Yeah, no, she kind of pats Val on the shoulder. She's like,
I didn't know what to do.
That was a quick feat, Fiona. Nice one.
Okay. You guys quickly make your way back out of the woods and back into the cornfields, moving through them as slowly, as quickly but as stealthily as you can. As you reach the main road, you can see that the other fields are also by this time empty, but you can see a lot of work has been done on them and some of the vegetables have been harvested. As you make your way across the road and quickly dart through the fields, you eventually reach the hamlet just as the sun is beginning to set.
all right. Now we wait.
And
Keep
as
an
you
eye
say, now we wait, you hear a voice go, well, no, it was actually me who had to wait. As you see a halfling man, dark of skin with dreadlocked hair, step out from behind the well in the center of the village. Currently,
Ah.
he has a large falcon sort of resting on his shoulder.
So you're the one who's been sending us the messages.
I
I
mean,
recognize you.
maybe we should verify?
Yeah.
He's the one.
Okay.
I was watching.
No, I'd quite like to verify if that's all right. What
I'm
is
gonna
the key?
pull out.
Freedom.
Ah,
What is the
What is it?
cage?
Tyranny.
That's correct.
Nice to meet you, brother.
You too.
My name's Ramask. Ramask Jimson.
Let me just write this down.
Ramask.
I've got to say
And
that's
then-
probably one of the easier names.
T.
to come out with.
And then Jimsan. Jimsan.
Valdesian Thunderbone.
Hey,
No
I think I've
sniggers,
heard of you.
please.
Oh, no sniggers. I think Fandor's mentioned you before. And what about the rest of your companions? Can they
I'll
be
tell you
trusted?
that one. I am the chosen of the Raven Queen, if that means anything to you.
It means nothing to me, but it will to the Black Mother. That's useful to know.
Good.
They can all be
I'm
trusted.
Randall. I'm just impressed that finally there's someone that's my height that I can look face to face with. That isn't
He
a
is
complete
actually
lunatic.
about an inch taller than you.
Yeah, but I can at least look him in the face without
Yeah.
having to crane my neck.
Friend of Fandor's.
That isn't a
friend of
complete
ours.
lunatic.
Fandor's a good man.
Hey, that he is. He's one of the few paladins we can trust in the city, especially after the new guard captain took over.
New guard captain?
Yeah. Recommended by the Archdeacon and Lord Worthington.
Oh, Worthington.
Aye,
Well, if you ask me.
What was her name? Gina Hastari.
Does
She's
it mean
been...
anything to us?
No.
Okay, cool.
By the way, when he asked for names, Fiona just said her name's Fiona. She never mentioned the surname.
Okay. So, what do you need from us?
A way in, a way to stop this nonsense. Free the town if we can. There's a lot of shit going. Not just oppression.
I can't get you in immediately. We're working on something to get under the walls. Look, I'm not the leader. I'm just the face. All right. I take a lot of risk doing this.
I appreciate it.
What if we were to tell you that Worthington's just about to come back to town, and we just want
Worthington's not due back for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
He's taking the pilgrim's path and stopping to look at some of the relics along the way.
to know? Oh, we made good time then.
Good. Further ahead of him, the better. We want to get as much dirt on him as possible, because we can't do anything to him until we do.
I mean, I don't. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going on here. You'd be better off speaking
Big
to.
things than just them thinking that they're better than everyone. They're not getting this popular through their own means, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I again, I am not really. I'm not really the plans man. I'm the face man. Okay.
Well, we need a plan man. We don't need a face man, no offense.
Well, to get to the plan man, I've got to get you into the city.
Well, then what do we need to do for you so that you trust us enough?
Well, I don't need you. I trust you already because you know the Triferian passphrases, and you're all, except bearing your friend there, the halfling, you're all exotics. I mean, your tall, dark friend at the back there, I'm assuming is also an exotic. I can't see underneath that cloak, but...
It's complicated.
Well, everyone's complicated, but... Look, we're working on building an escape tunnel as it is. It's not finished. If you have any way of shifting Earth quickly, we could maybe get it finished and you could have a way in and out, but... It only goes into the visitors district at the moment.
That's not good.
We haven't got it. Well, once you're inside, you're inside. You can then work from there. But
it's not exactly easy to move around when you're exotic.
Yes, but once you're inside, the patrols lessen a little, and we can maybe get you some disguises.
That work? We heard there's dogs that could sniff us out.
Well, yeah, but if you're dressed up like slaves, then they're not going to sniff you out anyway.
If we're dressed up like slaves, we can't move around.
Well, yes, you can.
We don't have papers.
With their help.
You don't need papers inside the city. The slaves don't have papers either. They just have a brand to show who they're owned by.
We have to get branded?
No, we can give you fake ones for that. As long as you've got a brand of someone who lives in the city, they let you in. And they don't really pay attention to you unless they want to rough you up a bit.
So what, you're just a resistant that runs then? You're just sneaking people out? You're not fighting back?
The resistance has only been running for about a year. We haven't really got many people. Do you know how hard it is to get a foothold in a city like this?
You ever heard of Durinar?
Yes!
Yes, but I free Durinar! We free Durinar!
Yes, we know of Durinar. Durinar had half of a turncoat army to use. We do not. We have volunteers who we're having to train from the ground up.
Talia, this guy...
volunteers.
This guy is
someone.
trying to help us give... We had next to no plan before we sent those letters. Let's hear this guy out. Let's go with what he can do, and that's more of an in than we originally had.
Let's hear what's happening so far. Let's go.
All right.
Right. So, like I said, the leader, I'm not going to name her here because that is risky for her. We might be overheard.
Fair enough.
She arrived about a year ago and began setting up what we have at the moment.
Where from?
Well, she's a Triferian member. She worked her way into the city. She disguised herself as a pilgrim, made her way into the cathedral, and managed to slip out when no one was noticing and get into the lower city. From there, she managed to find a hideaway. We've secured it. It's managed for a year, and we've been slowly recruiting people, those from the lower city who want to change things. We've got decent agreements with some of the temples down there, and we're trying to spread as much word as we can where we can. I run the Wings of Freedom, which is the main place to buy hunting birds, messenger birds, anything like that. through that, I'm able to get a lot of rumors. Most of the messenger birds are trained that when they're sent with a missive from their new owner, the first place they come is to me, and I can get a copy. And then they go on their way.
Clever.
Exactly. So, we've been collecting what we can, but a lot of the stuff doesn't go through messenger birds, so it's slow going. Most we've managed to find out so far is that this maybe runs a bit deeper than we thought.
Oh,
There's something going on with suddenly the economic situation of this city has boomed when it shouldn't have done. We're not sure. We're still researching and investigating stuff, so help would be great.
well, we've got some information that might blow your mind.
Definitely bigger picture stuff that's going on.
Chaos is coming.
Well, whatever, but we've still got to get you in the
Yeah.
city. So,
Yes.
do any of you have a way, magically, to move a bunch of Earth?
No, none of us are
No.
of the Earth.
I mean, I have a way that you can move Earth from one location to another, but it's in 1 minute segments, and then I have to set it up again.
I mean, it could help.
Honestly,
It could help.
As long as it can get us the tunnel finished. The tunnel is very nearly done. We're talking maybe 50 feet left of tunnel. That's it. But the problem is
That's doable.
the person making the tunnel can only do it from her end, and
So you
only
need
when there's
people this side to dig.
we need
Are we digging in or digging out?
you will need to dig in to join up to the tunnel.
Right, so
The
they're
tunnel's
digging
been
out.
being dug
Right.
out, and we know
Right.
where the tunnel's going to end up. We just need to finish it off and then disguise it.
That's doable. Could
So,
help at least.
Portal,
More
dagger, and
hands the
haste.
better.
I
Right.
kind of wish I had my boring
Yeah.
machine.
Just see a bird just go.
Yeah, I know. It's a pain in the arse.
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
once we get
dig!
you
Like,
Once
yes,
we get
dig.
you inside, we've got a safe house in the place where you'll end up. From there, we can then provide you with disguises and whatever else you need that we can get a hold of with our limited resources.
Do you have anything that can disguise scent? I mean, I don't
Yes.
know how these dogs sniff.
Well,
Whether it would work.
they're Hyperion hounds. They sniff the same as normal dogs. We've got ways of
Yeah.
disguising scent, yes, but
That might be needed.
we'd have to talk to Ptolemy, and he's a bit weird. Blows himself
you
up
met
more
us.
often than not, but
Where we're meant to be digging, there's not guard rounds or anything like that there, or...
I mean, if they got
Yeah.
a safe house, probably not.
where
Oh.
where we need you to dig, is outside the walls. That's where the exit is. It's in the barrier park, the northern barrier park, alongside the gleaming. The guards do patrol there, but hopefully we're close enough to the wall that will be a bit hidden, and I'll probably be on a lookout. I'll pretend that I'm exercising some of my birds, and then if I see guards coming, I can send a bird over your way to let you know, and you
It's
can
red
make
bird.
yourself scarce.
Incoming. Speaking of birds.
I think we could have a bit of a way to dig.
Well, I mean, if we found his portal thing, have you got something else up your sleeve, Blossom?
Well, we've got the animal conjuring things. If we could, summon potentially
I'm
giant
out. Look,
moles.
my tattoo is gone.
I have
Wait,
one.
you haven't used yours?
I
I
have
haven't
you?
used many of them.
Blossom hasn't used any, and I've got one left.
All right, that's something we could do.
Giant moles.
I mean, they did.
I don't know whether that's in the list of animals you can conjure. What was it, a quarter rating?
Yeah, and I will say
Oh.
a giant badger would count.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first thing I found a giant
we can
badger
do
is
it. We can
quarter
come up with
rating.
something.
I really wish I could spin my webcam right now.
What are they doing? Are they just?
Well, the birds are almost doing it for
You're
you.
in the light. Yeah.
So if we help you with the tunnel, I feel like we should. Can you get a message to your leader to warn them that if they know anything about Slardy, they are your bigger problem in Reform.
I
Things
can
are
get
not
a
as they
message-
seem.
I can
Warn
get a
them.
message to the leader.
Don't get
Yes.
scratched.
I can get a message to the leader. That's not a problem.
And we'll help you dig the tunnel, yeah?
So, are you wanting to go there now, or do you want to wait until tomorrow?
What time is
we
it?
need
We're
for
fresh,
some
right?
sort of
By this
cover,
point, it is
yeah.
close to like
Oh,
getting
it's evening.
about 9,
Yeah.
10 at night. Hello, Burb.
Sorry.
Burp,
I
burp,
don't
burp.
know. Do you think it's better to work now in the dark? Well, what dark there is.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be dark when we get near the city.
So does it really make a difference when?
Not really.
I
No.
mean, the sooner the better, but we don't want to be exhausted.
The only difference will be, people around the area.
I was going to say, do we need the cover of dark?
That is
There's
now
no dark
dark.
near the city.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. We'll go with whatever you think is best.
What do you think is best? We'll just go with it. Yeah. Now?
We'll go
Or
now.
later?
And you watch as he whistles and another bird comes down and he quickly writes a note, tucks it into a message tube and launches it off. Right, that'll go to the person at the other end of the tunnel. They'll know to be expecting company, hopefully.
Lead the way then. I hope you're stealthy.
Alright, follow me. Be careful though, we're going to have to go near Grace Village and they're
Not
a little
friendly.
fanatical.
I think we might have met one or two of them.
Hunting village?
Oh no, Bravery Village is a bit more tolerant. Grace Village is very much not so.
Right. Makes sense.
You know that hunting
doubly
guy
cautious.
that pointed his bow at me? Can I try and basically copy a lot of his looks, but make him blonde instead of brunette?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just because I am a big
that's-
dragon character with wings.
With
I
wings to
figure-
stick
Yeah,
out.
Like-
that is recent enough that yes, that is easy enough for you to do.
Yeah, so I'm going to spin my cloak
Atali's
around.
going to be like, I hate doing this, but white hair is a pain, and I'm going to start smearing mud to darken my hair so I don't stick out like a sore thumb
Okay.
with my bright white hair.
I'm
Yeah.
The rest of me, red skin
I
is
mean, you
covered.
could just keep your cowl up.
I know, I'll keep my cowl up and cover my face. I forgot that I had that. That's better than smearing mud all over my
Mud.
face. That's just mud all over my face.
Mud,
You know.
glorious
Mud
mud.
is mud. Yeah, I'll bring my cowl up and hide my face and say, sorry. Probably best not to show my white hair.
Aye, probably best, right? Follow me.
It's just
And
a black void with glowing eyes staring at him.
Ramask turns around and he starts trudging off in a sort of. Actually, where the hamlet is, you would probably just have. Yeah, you just have to head direct east. So he just starts guiding you through the farm fields, picking your way through. He goes. Fortunately, there's not due to do any hunts in the next couple of days. There's not been any escaped slaves recently, so the Radiant Templar should be staying mostly in and around the city.
I wonder whether there might be soon, though. I won't say how I know, but we should be on alert then, maybe.
Well, that's fine, but come on. You trudge on for about 2 hours, and the further east you go, the lighter it gets. Lighter and lighter and lighter, until eventually you can see the city walls ahead of you, and you are walking in what feels like daylight. Like-
Even Bjorn is just like, oh.
This sucks.
At this point, would he have turned round and realised that I was a drow?
You can see, he glances out the corner of his eye, but he doesn't comment. He's trusting you enough because of Val and being followers to Triferian, and he's sort of like, if you have it's very much the thing of if they have a reason to have a drow with them, then I'm not gonna question it, sort of
Question it.
thing.
Yeah.
Currently, it's also the fact of he is just the face man. He's just like
He's not the plan man.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
very
get
much the
paid
case
enough
of
for this. Yeah.
it's very much a case of this is above my pay grade. I'm going to get
Yeah.
these people in the city. I'm going to get them what they need, and then I'm going to hopefully forget they exist.
I think
Works
even
for
at
us.
this point,
Man.
Sandal might have just
Ooh.
put his goggles on, just to even alleviate the brightness a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not like regular daylight like on an overcast day. This is direct sunlight. It is like a
That's
hot
my cowl
summer's
and
day.
hiding my face give me some shade.
A little bit, yeah.
If I made my illusion have a pair of sunglasses, would that help at all? No.
Nope.
It would be an
Oh.
illusion.
I'd look
Sunglasses
cool, though.
exist. Well, they must do because goggles exist. So
Yeah.
there's probably some kind of tinted thing. Yeah.
Eventually, he leads you into this beautifully landscaped park, and you can see that there are rolling paths going through beautifully manicured lawns, carefully sculptured trees to like made into like sculptures and shapes. There is like small babbling streams running through with artfully done like rocks and that sort of thing to make little waterfalls. There are huge swathes of flowers. There are like gazebos dotted around for people to have picnics and stuff in. He goes, this is one of the barrier parks. This is open to the public at all times of the year, and most people make use of it on their days off, etc. to, you know, have a bit of family time. Follow me. And he leads you down towards, there is like a point between two of the spokes, and he sort of guides you to that point, and he sort of gets to the edge of the wall, inching his way up, and he goes, right. And he kicks over a rock, and you can see a large sort of X has been cut into the turf. He goes, here, you need to dig down and then forwards. You need to get underneath the walls 10 feet down, and then you need to dig 50 feet towards the city. Hopefully you should intersect into the other tunnel. All right, I'm going to go over there, and he points just a little bit further away. You see this area is sort of lined with bushes and trees, so it's a bit obscured from the rest of the park. He's going to go, I'm just going to be on the other side of there, exercising my birds. If I see anyone come in and they're looking like they're going to come into this bit, I will send a bird to you. All right?
All right.
Just try
I'll
not to make
send
too much noise.
Queenie to try and cover any areas that he can't see. I'll just get her to circle, because
Okay.
then she can blend in with the other birds.
Okay.
So then she can warn me as well.
Okay. So he goes off, and you start hearing him sort of like, you like hear the beginnings of like swinging, and you see like he's got like a bit of like meat on the end of a rope, and he's swinging it around and having a bird follow it.
So, are we doing
Let's get
badges
digging, then.
first, or
Yeah. Vienna's just like exercising
Yeah,
already.
Roll up the sleeves. Right,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's get digging.
are we doing badges
Sandal's
first?
going to do
Get them
something
animals.
very unusual.
Hmm?
Because I've had this spell prepped for months, waiting for a perfect opportunity to use it. I'm going to
Yes.
use it
Remove
now.
soil and grass.
No.
Shaper.
Alter self.
Oh.
I'm going to turn
Yep.
my arm into very sort of like Val's sword-like shovels.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get to digging.
It's just looking at you in horror.
Okay.
What the fuck are you doing?
You look so
Sandal?
happy. to
Just
have
one
used that
moment, guys.
spell. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Jaffa's misbehaving downstairs. I could hear him barking
I
earlier.
feel like it's an animal thing.
This
It
break
is.
is
Actually, my boys have been behaving.
This
Oh,
break
right,
is
okay.
sponsored by Tabletop Dominion, who are offering a 10% off voucher site-wide when you use code Dyson Mimics. Just go to tabletopdominion.com.
Bag yourself some really
/
nice stuff.
Yeah, / Dyson Mimics. And yeah, dice trays, dice vaults, custom
Dice
wood
towers,
stuff. Yeah.
All the shinies.
Really shinies.
You can also check out DysonMimics.com for awesome merch. We've got class t-shirts, we've got Armatae specific t-shirts. You've got all sorts.
And
Coming
there's,
soon, there's going to be a really cool Strahd t-shirt.
Onlyfans.com / Dyson Mimics, where we have saucy pictures of our DM.
No, we don't. Oh,
Yeah. No.
saucy
Anyway.
pictures of the characters drawn by me, maybe, but no, we haven't got an OnlyFans.
Yet.
Or only dice.
Only
Okay.
dice.
So
we're
you
digging.
cast alter self and create like spade-like arms. Yep.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just
Anyone
try
doing
and
help
anything else?
dig.
Just helping
Do
to
I
dig.
have anything? I'll try and help to dig. Yeah, I'm just seeing if I've got anything.
If anything, Vienna's just gonna make sure that we're not leaving a very obvious mound.
Yeah.
Oh, what,
behind us,
distributing
so
the dirt out and spreading
Yeah,
it out.
so
Yeah, make it
we
look.
need to quickly cover.
You know, like the Great Escape, where they're like dragging it out in their shoes,
Yeah,
walking
yeah,
it
yeah.
out, and yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
shit like that.
Okay.
So
I would
Use my
say
Can
Brass brazier
cast
to
enhance
dig.
ability on Xandal to give him bull strength
yes, you may.
to
So
help
for
with
those
his
who
spade
are
hands.
digging, I need athletics checks. So obviously, Xandal, yours is with advantage because of the bull strength.
Natural 20 for a 24.
Nice. Yes, this is going well.
Things are working for us, guys! Yay!
Okay.
Once we've dug enough, we
Right.
can set
Oh,
the animals loose, but we need to get that
Yeah.
initial route
So
through.
getting the
Hmm.
first 10 feet only takes you about 30 minutes with the... with some of you are just like digging, like Vienna, you are digging frantically because it's like, I need shade. I need
Yeah.
shade.
This is true.
Underground's good.
I like underground. Get
Yeah.
me under there.
Hit me in the shade. I want the darkness.
Scandal, you
Fuck the Lord.
try to assist, but half the time you're just getting hit in the face with dirt from other people because of your height.
I
You're
guess
just like, haha! Ugh.
Stop throwing muck in my hole!
I'm guessing my score is probably slightly lower because I've got Mortimer screaming at me, "Don't use me like a shovel."
No, Mortimer is screaming at you, use me like a shovel. He's more than happy for this.
Okay.
Use me, Val! Use me!
I'll
I mean-
use you like a shovel.
Do you like that? Do you like that? Sorry.
I'm gonna dig deep.
However, Val, there is something you notice.
Okay.
Mortimer's voice is very distant.
Oh, great.
Like he's like down a long corridor. The connection's still there, it's just very, very faint.
I've seen this before.
Is this a suppression thing?
Bad guys love doing this shit, don't they?
But yes, you quickly get the first 10 feet down, and you are now all stood in this hole lower down.
Blossom?
From hiding the soil, who would like to helm hiding the soil? Like the mounds of soil you've just dug up.
Yes.
I'll
I-
probably help
Yeah, I probably would have been.
Vienna as well
we
because
can probably be on that
I
as
don't really
well.
have any tools to dig away.
So I will
and using my
say-
bare hands would suck. So
I will say you can make survival, nature, or flat intelligence checks, your choice.
Isn't-
There's a couple
is-
of different ways you can deal with the soil.
Is there no way that Ert could have just popped Spirit Guardians and got all of her little Erts to start beating the shit out
Nope.
of the earth?
that's
Okay.
not how Guardians works. Well, my nature and my intelligence are both +2, so I guess I'll
Yeah.
go nature.
I'll
for
go
mine.
nature.
Come on.
Was it nature or intelligence? I thought there was a
Nature,
third.
12.
survival, or intelligence.
Oh,
12
okay.
nature.
If you do want to go full Great Escape, we could use the Book of Holding. Just start shoveling it all into the book.
Massive wad of dirt on a
Figure it all
page.
out.
Okay.
Hey, that might come in handy later. Actually, getting
With-
some soil. We could like
With
dump it
those
out.
rolls, you manage to figure out like the couple of like good places. Like there's like a little flower bed nearby. You manage to dump some of it into that. You sort of pile some up around the bottom of a couple of trees. You bury some in the middle of some rocks. You've gotten rid of all the dirt so far successfully, and it doesn't look suspicious.
Be suspicious.
We'll try and disguise the entrance as best we can as well.
Oh, well, that's
Part of
Not-
it, yeah.
not
Literally
a
what
thing
we've
yet.
done. Yeah.
But now you've got to dig 50 feet towards the city.
I think we were going
Yeah.
to go with the animals for that, weren't we?
Pick
Yeah.
quiet ones, preferably.
Badger.
I don't think badgers are that loud.
No, badgers aren't.
Not really
Badger,
enough.
badger,
Okay.
badger, badger,
And I think
badger,
it was
badger,
it was
badger.
up to
Badger,
eight,
mushroom.
8 quarter
8
challenge
quarter
rating
challenge rating, yeah.
for an hour, and they've got a pouring speed of 10 feet. So
Yep.
And you have multiple castings of that spell. I think you've got,
yeah,
like,
I've got
2
two,
left after
but-
that one.
Okay. So
I'll put
you
it for
hold
everyone
up
50 feet.
the partitioned unicorn tattoo, mutter a couple of words, and one of the top segment flashes and vanishes as in this hole. I'm assuming you've all gotten out the hole.
Yeah, we've made
In this
We're
hole
getting
appear
buried alive.
8 large badgers. They only just all fit in the hole. And they sort of look up at you, Blossom, and sort of cock their heads on one side.
Yeah, I just get them to start digging towards the city.
Yep. You watch as they just go, and this dirt starts pushing back out
We're
of the
just
hole.
desperately trying to hide all that dirt.
Turning out
Yeah.
like a wood chipper.
It's just
And
going
within-
to cause problems.
Within about 20-30 minutes, you hear like one of them pops their head back up out of the hole and goes, as if to say that they've finished.
Mm.
Alright. Let's
As you-
clean up.
Clean up the mess. And
Clean up the
then-
mess, disguise the tunnel as best we can.
It's
so
at this
that it's
point,
not obvious from the
Jamask
outside.
sort of pokes his head through the bushes and goes, "How we doing?"
We're done. Get over here.
He scuttles over and pulls out a couple of like inscribed stones from his pocket and goes, "Right, good job." And he places these stones down around the hole, and you watch as they shimmer, and then an illusion of a rock, a large boulder, covers the hole.
Perfect.
That'll do for now. We'll have to get something a bit better, but this'll do for the moment. Right, go on, in, go. I'll go back in. I'll go back in through the gate. As they saw me leave, so I have to go back in the same way. But
That makes
when
sense. We'll meet you there, I guess.
no, when you get to the other end, you should be met by the owner.
What's her name?
Hang on.
What do we need to tell her so that she doesn't attack us on sight?
Greta Hurlbarrel. She's expecting people to come through the tunnel. Obviously, just do the usual Triferian greeting. All right.
That's down to you, Val.
Send the badgers barreling down the tunnel.
They probably like, okay, we've got friends coming through. Badgers.
Hurl barrel.
Greta Hurlbarrel. Yes.
I'm sure that's not how you spell it, but that'll do.
Hurl barrel.
I'm picturing two things that would have spawned the surname.
Greta.
Either there is a sports competition where they hurl like beer barrels, or in a lot of taverns there is just a barrel in the corner, ready for if somebody has drunk too much.
You never know.
Hurl barrel.
Hurl.
Crawling through this tunnel, your bit is beautifully made by these badgers and is wide enough for like two of you to crawl side by side. The tunnel that they've connected to is much less well made and only has room for one person to go at a time. And the badgers just sort of look and just start tunneling
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
making
say,
it
'cause
better.
They've got
Val,
quite a
you
quite a
Val,
while to
Urge, you
stick
go in
around.
front. You're the ones that have the code.
Mhm.
We'll be close
As
behind.
we are traveling through, am I able to just sort of like double check the structural soundness of the tunnel so it doesn't sort of like collapse in the future?
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check.
Okay, I'm going to use one of my Dormammu for this.
Yep.
Me.
Thank God, that's
So
17.
17. The tunnel seems structurally sound for now. You think eventually it is going to need some form of supports put in, but you get the feeling that the Triferian worshippers will probably deal with that at a later date.
Yeah.
But after about probably 25 minutes of crawling, you eventually see that the tunnel begins to lead upwards. And the badgers sort of stop and look as if to go, are we continuing on, or do you want us to sort of like stay down here?
If the tunnel's about 2 people wide, then I'll just
They
Keep
sort of
moving.
tunnel off. They sort of tunnel off to one
Finish
side
off.
and just sort of like you see them beginning to make like sets. You know they're going to vanish in probably.
you can. Oh well, I don't know how the.
Actually,
the
it only lasts an
tunnel
hour,
works.
so they've probably only got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I would.
Just take
I'll
as
probably
as long as they
dismiss
can,
them-
then. Yeah.
Dismiss them once they're done anyway.
They vanish in a sparkle of light.
Mhm.
And as you come to the end of this tunnel, you see that there is at the top a wooden trapdoor,
Maybe
currently
knock.
closed. You knock, you hear some shuffling and some grinding, and then the trapdoor comes open, a small amount of torchlight coming in, and a crossbow is shoved in your face, Val.
What is
Say
the
words,
key?
Val.
Freedom! What is the cage?
Tyranny.
Alright, come on up! And the crossbow is withdrawn.
Ah, that went
As
smoothly.
you climb up into what looks like a bunk room. Like there's a couple of bunk beds. There's what you can see that there's a carpet and table that have been pushed back to open up this trap door, and you can see that there is like there's like one door that leads out, and then there is what looks like from here it looks like the back of a bookcase maybe covering an entrance. Looks like a secret door of some kind. And stood in front of you is a middle-aged, very stout, very stacked dwarf with bright red hair and a plaited red beard and freckles across her nose, and she's got beautiful bright green eyes as she looks up at you all as you come climbing out, and she goes, "Well, not how I normally have guests arrive. Nice to meet you. I'm Greta Hurlbarrel, and this is the Sunset Siesta in the Visitors District. And this is a little safe room that I've put together for a couple of friends of mine in that little resistance. I can't actively support, but I can do this much."
Every little helps. You'd be surprised how much a lot of little things can add up to.
Well, exactly. I do what I can, and I notice any people passing through who might be potential recruits and pass it on to Jamask and some of the others. But come in, please. Let's get the trapdoor closed and hidden again, and you can all take a bunk, and I'll see about getting you some food and drink if you want it, yes?
Yeah, well, why not?
Before the
Well, don't
trapdoor
worry.
goes, Val is going to quickly take off his cloak or move his cloak round and just like get rid of the dirt that's on his cloak. But at that point, he has switched from
Yeah.
the
We'll
human
dust
that he
ourselves
looked
off.
like to back to being
The
Dragonborn.
He sort of looks at you and goes, "Well, that makes a bit more sense. Jamask said there was a Dragonborn. That was
Yeah,
really
well,
weird when I didn't see one, but okay.
he kind of
Anyway.
sticks out like a sore thumb with the wings.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna congratulate you on, taking measures. Well done, but right. Anyway, what can I get you all? I've got some good wines on stock. I've only got the one type of ale, really. Just some small beer. And we've got some nice rice and meat dishes going at the moment. If you're
An
interested.
ale would be fine for me. I don't require food.
Very
Body
well.
would
And
go down
A little bit
trees
of
at the
food would
moment.
go down amazing. You can see Xandal just kind of like rubbing his shoulder a little bit. He was digging
Oh.
way too hard before.
Yeah.
all right, you all just wait here. And she goes over and stands next to this bit of wall, and she sort of reaches over and like pulls a lever, and you watch as it swings open, and you are looking out into what looks like the basement storeroom of a tavern. And she steps through and pushes it closed, leaving you all inside.
Is it just her, or was there anyone else?
No, just her
Just her?
currently.
Okay.
A woman.
How big is this space? Is it roomy enough for us to all lay down, or is it very cozy?
There's enough bunk beds in here for probably, I would say, 14 people.
Okay.
Okay.
And like there's enough room at the table for about 8 to 10 people to sit comfortably.
I mean,
And
me
there's
and
enough
Vienna
beds
really
as
only need
well.
to sit cross-legged. We don't need to lie down.
Yeah.
I was just picturing a space that had like that was like a box.
No room.
It's big enough to like live in for a while. You wouldn't want to stay here for like days on a time, but as like a quick safe room, it's obviously set up as it's fine. And you see that small door to the side, as it opens, it leads to like a small washroom with a garderobe. And when I say a garderobe, I mean like a privy. It's basically a dug pit.
Oh. No glyph of
No.
Yon, you don't see any.
Well, I've
But-
seen it classier, but beggars can't be choosers.
You
After
get
a-
used to hiding in little places.
After about 30 minutes, you hear sounds from the other side of the bookcase, and it swings open, and she comes in with a large tray, placing it down, and you see there is a jug of like, it doesn't look like good beer, but it looks like okay beer.
It'll
And
do.
she's got a bottle of what looks like a red wine and a couple of glasses, and like a big pot of what looks like just like think like a biryani, like rice, curried rice with bits of meat in it. And she places it down with a couple of bowls and goes, "Right, well, help yourself. Jamask has sent me a message saying he's organising for disguises and stuff for you, and hopefully he should be able to come around with them tomorrow, if that's all right for you."
Who's Jamask? Another one of the resistant?
Jamask is the one who guided you to where you
He
were.
was the bird man.
I thought his name was Ramask Jimson.
Ramask
Jimson.
Jamask.
Ramask, that's my fault.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I thought it was a different person because I was like, my notes say Ramask. I was like, who's Jamask?
No, sorry,
Okay, cool.
Ramask.
That's fine.
Yeah, Ramask says he should be able to be around with the disguises early tomorrow morning. or what you can scrounge together anyway.
Cool.
Right.
Anything else I can do for you in the meantime?
Nope.
Did you say you just help in what ways you can? You can't tell us anything else about.
I mean,
the
if you've got
resistance,
questions,
or-
I can try to answer them, but I'm I'm a tavern owner, and I've been shunted out here into the visitors district.
You
You
don't
not
hear
heard
any
anything
gossips?
suspicious? Gossip, yeah. Drunkards tend to talk a lot, right?
Well, again, I'm in the visitors district. Main
Yeah.
people I see are visitors, and occasionally the Radiant Templar when they come to hassle me. But that's because
I don't
unlike a lot
suppose
of
they're talkative.
it depends. I
What they
obviously
called again? The Radiant what?
Radiant Templars.
Can you tell us anything about them?
So
Do
obviously
they have any special abilities?
they're all Pelor worshippers. They wear pretty much heavy armor at all times. They're pretty much a guard and army rolled into one. Normally they're carrying crossbows, longswords. They've become a bit more vindictive recently since the new guard captain took over. She seems to be pushing them more to harass people a bit.
Any magic casters?
Not that I've seen. That's mainly the duty of the priests and the acolytes. They don't really patrol with the Templars. The main thing you've got to watch out for with them is the Hyperion hounds. They're like large hounds with basically like have you ever heard of a hellhound? Flaming mane down the back.
Have I, being of the hellish inheritance?
Yeah. Well, Hyperion hounds are the opposite. They're celestial hounds. They have these beautiful, radiant light manes, glowing white eyes, but they can shoot out beams of light, and they've been trained to sniff out non-humans, exotics. Yes.
How long have you
So,
been a follower of Tritherion?
I wouldn't say I'm a full follower. I'm a sympathizer,
Okay.
for definite. I myself am actually a follower of Soon. It's
Soon?
helps with my beauty. She sort of strikes a pose which pushes out her massive chest a little bit. She goes,
It's just like glancing down a little bit.
Soon, goddess of love and beauty. Her temple down
Nice.
below is the Passion Palace.
Seems aptly named.
I'm sure it is.
Is there any way of getting in contact with any Raven Queen temples?
What is the Raven's Nook in the lower city? You'll be once you've got your disguises, you'll be able to go down there. Slaves are once you've got your slavery garb, people watching you'll just assume you're on errands for your master. So
Right.
no, as long as you're not suspicious.
So if we're disguised as slaves and we're walking around, then we probably don't need to disguise our scent, because obviously if we smell non-human, it's more believable, right?
Yes, more than likely.
Makes more
Like I
sense.
say, just don't be suspicious. Don't go acting out. If you see something bad happening, just ignore it. Keep walking, otherwise you're going to draw attention to yourselves.
Yes, Val.
If you meet,
Declare it, Val, because you're the one who can't control yourself.
It does put me in a difficult position, though.
Yes.
if you meet a patrol of Radiant Templar, eyes down to the side of the road, let them pass you before you even try to move.
What about our drow friend? Wouldn't she be better off pretending to be our owner?
The drow don't typically leave the market unless they're on a hunt.
So she'd be better off disguised and definitely not being found out to be drow.
They would only believe that she's your owner if she was guiding you towards the slave market.
Okay. So disguise for you, Vienna.
But
I'm
yes,
going to have to be fully disguised, not as a drow.
only other thing I would say, is if you see a noble on a palanquin, get
Palanquin.
out of that road as quick. They're carried. They have the slaves carry them on a platform. Typically whilst wearing not much more than a loincloth, because they like to get as much
What?
sunbathing in as they can. Well,
Sunbathing?
yes, to bask in the light is to bask in Pelor's grace, so the believers spend as much time in as little clothing as possible to drink in as much sunlight as possible.
But it's a crystal.
Obviously,
It's not even the sun.
it absorbs and puts out proper sunlight.
Seems like a lot of crap to me.
I mean,
only
it's
the
not that
nobles
hard to put out proper sunlight.
But only the nobles can afford to do it all the time because they can afford the skin protection for it. The more common folk spend most of their time clothed, don't worry. But you'll see a number of nobles and higher priests wearing as little as possible, as much as they can. Fortunately, it normally happens mostly in the eastern side of the city, but
I mean, plus side, if they're not wearing much, probably not carrying weapons, right?
no, but their guards will be.
Yeah.
But yes, most nobles consider any slave they see as fair game. Mostly because they know the owners and are willing to pay any forfeits to them.
Fair enough. So, be as tame as possible, keep our heads down, let the guards pass, avoid the palanquins as much as possible.
Yes, and if you can find
Without
something
looking
to carry,
suspicious.
if you can find something to carry with you, making it look like you're on a job, that'll help even better.
Carry. Barrels of ale? You got any
No.
deliveries you need doing? We could help.
I've not got anything to deliver at the moment. Again, I'm not in favor. You remember, I used to own a tavern in the main city. But I treated people a little too equally for one of the priest's tastes. So I suddenly found my premises up for demolition, and had to apply for relocation, and I got this place in the visitors district.
This place sucks balls.
Well, when the archdeacon is who he is, then that's what's going to happen.
You know, who is the archdeacon? Do you know who is he? What is his name? What race is he? What does he do?
The archdeacon, he's human. Hang on. You're asking me something where I'm not on the right bit of the thing.
You mentioned
It's my
something,
job
we're
to
going to ask.
the DM something that he isn't prepared for at all times.
The archdeacon, Grayson Haskell. He's late 80s, human. Been the leader of the Pelor religion for 30 years now, I think.
Leader.
Sounds like an asshole.
Yes, well, he's the one who started it off slow, began with just little bits and pieces here and there about how, the non-humans were polluting society and that they didn't ever really seem to get proper jobs, etc. Slowly brought people round to being Pelorites, got the majority, began pushing the other temples and religions below ground, and then suddenly started having this wonderful effect on the economy, bringing in massive amounts of resources from somewhere, and suddenly more and more people began believing in Pelor, because the more people believed in Pelor, the more of these resources came into the economy. So obviously believing in Pelor and doing what he said was right, and then the more and more followers they got, the more majority they had, and the less they needed to tiptoe around the other religions.
I think we might need to look into this a little bit more somehow.
So when you say resources, what kind of resources are we talking? Like rare minerals, ores, food, wine, what?
We're talking gold, we're talking building materials, we're talking art pieces, statues.
What, they getting these from out of town? Like, how are
statues?
They getting
Normal statues?
Just
marble white statues with creepy weird patterns on?
I've seen marble ones, but there's also been granite ones. There was one made of gold at one point. But he's just every now and then he'd just trot them out in a mass at the cathedral and hand them out to people.
So he's never been seen to leave?
Oh,
The
he's never been seen
town?
to leave, but there's caravans going and leaving all the time.
I wonder.
Hmm.
You think maybe they're getting them from wherever that statue that we got from where we're from?
Not
Probably
sure.
best not to mention where we're from.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
if there's nothing else you need, I'll go. I've got guests upstairs who are waiting. So
Sure, we'll mull this information over.
yeah, try not to be too loud. The room is
Of course.
fairly soundproof, but obviously I don't want anyone to know you're down here. And like I say, the Ramask will be round in the morning with your disguises.
Right.
Right.
I'm just
It's-
thinking it's nearly 10 o'clock. That might be a good time to stop so that
I was gonna say
our lovely
stop
Steph can get some
now.
rest.
We did want a hard finish. I was either going to go for another 30 minutes or stop now. It's entirely up
Yeah.
to you guys.
Our poorly
Yeah.
How
Steph.
you feeling?
yeah.
We could end
yeah,
up stumbling
well,
across combat and then ended up going for
Yeah,
another hour.
yeah,
let's
not
let
bad
Steph
to
get some
stop
rest.
anyway.
Okay. All right. So
But you've got to be
She
ready.
leaves.
You've got to be better for the next session.
I have got to be better for the next
So-
session.
as she leaves, she closes the secret door behind her, and you guys enjoy the meal and drinks that she has brought for you as you begin discussing what you have learned, what you assume and what you think may be going on, and begin planning for your forays into this city. And that is where we will end tonight's session. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Steph, for managing, even though you're not feeling well.
I survived.
Our next session should be on the 19th. If anyone can't do that, they will let me know, and just we'll then let you guys know through socials, etc. So just keep your
Pray
eyes
to
on
the dice
them.
gods. Pray to the dice gods.
Yes,
Let us
scheduling
play.
is
Let
never
us
right.
I was
play.
gonna say I'll have a look at when my next LARP events are. So,
Come on, Mark, don't let us down.
But until then, guys, enjoy your own games, enjoy your own gaming, enjoy your own geekiness, nerdiness, whatever you're into. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope to see you again next time. But until then, bye for now.
Bye.